I'm my brother's keeper. Yeah, that's love. Through the pain and the struggle, we evolve. We stronger together, divided we fall. So I got you, my brother. I got you. We was raised in a system that divided the men, turned kings into rivals, made us enemies then. Competition over unity, that was the plan. But I see you as reflection, you a part of who I am. Same struggle, same pain, just a different road. Same pressure on your back, same heavy load. They don't teach us how to love, only how to survive. So we hurting one another just to feel alive. But I refuse that cycle, I break that chain. If you fall, I lift you, we don't die in vain. If you hungry, we eating. If you lost, I guide. If you fighting your demons, I'm right by your side. I'm my brother's keeper. I won't let you fall. When the world get heavy, I'ma answer the call. Hand on your shoulder, we gon' stand tall. If you lose your way, I'ma guide you. They told us every man for himself, that's a lie. That's the reason so many of our brothers die. No code, no honor, no structure, no base. Just pain passed down that we never face. But we the builders that we lay a foundation. Real brotherhood is the elevation. Not just words, it's action, it's how we move. Checking on your mental, making sure you improve. Pull you up when you slip and not tear you down. Correct you with love, keep your feet on the ground. If you're wrong, I'ma tell you that's your real respect. Cause I'd rather build you than watch you wreck. And you're crying in silence, I hear you loud. You ain't gotta hide pain, you can say it now. It was never meant to walk this life alone. Brother, lean on me, this is shared. From the block to the boardroom, same mission clear. Protect the black man, keep your brother near. We at war with forces trying to break the bond, but together we rise, we forever strong. No jealousy, no envy, just growth and power. We planting seeds now, this the final hour. Generations watching how we move today. So I stand with my brother in the righteous way. I won't let you fall. When the world get heavy, I'ma answer the call. Hand on your shoulder, we gon' stand tall. If you lose your way, I'ma guide you. My brother's keeper, yeah, that's all. The pain and the struggle, we fall. We stronger together, divided we fall. So I got you, my brother, I got you.
Hey, peace, peace. Okay, we can go ahead and get started, brothers. I want to first start with our salutation in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness there is no God but Allah. We thank Him for making His divine intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise I forever do. And I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is His messenger, Messiah. And I'm forever thankful to Allah and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad for the divine servant and reminder and present day warner among us, a faithful warner, true friend, and an absolute brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is with their names that I greet you, my brothers, and those who are listening with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, the language of our forefathers, of Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. We like to welcome you to another edition of We Must First Be Brothers. Today's subject is the ego part 3. Humility is the key. So just getting right into our discussion today, start by a statement, if you will, a quote. Know thyself. But what is the self? The self is the divine reality within man, the higher nature rooted in God. The knowledge of God is the knowledge of self. To study the true self is to study the attributes, principles, wisdom, and nature of God reflected within the human being. The scripture teaches us, and Allah taught Adam all the names, Holy Quran 2 and 31. And Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you, Luke 17 and 21. The ancient Greek maxim declares, know thyself. This is not merely psychological awareness, it is spiritual recognition. It is the journey of separating the true self from the false self, the divine nature from the inflated ego. So then, what is the ego? The ego is the self conscious identity of a person. It is in its unhealthy form, it becomes an exaggerated attachment to superiority, pride, self will, vanity, self importance. An inflated ego seeks to enthrone itself above true wisdom, correction, and ultimately above God Himself. This is why humility is the key, because humility protects the self from corruption. Cain and Abel represent more than two men in history, in the biblical history. They represent two conditions within man himself. Cain represents the inflated ego. Abel represents the divine nature seeking harmony with God. Cain killed Abel. Even linguistically, there is symbolism in this. Ab meaning from, and El referring to God. Abel can be viewed as that which comes from God, the righteous essence within man. So when Cain kills Abel, it symbolizes the inflated ego destroying the divine nature within the human being. The scripture says, and Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Genesis 4 and 8. But notice something deeper here, brothers. Cain was not merely angry with Abel. Cain was angry with God because God rejected his offering. So Cain sought to punish God through violence against his own brother. This is the nature of the unchecked ego. It resents correction, it resents rejection, it resents truth. And when ego can not challenge God directly, it attacks the reflection of God in others. This same spirit appears in Iblis in the Holy Quran. Allah commands the angels to bow down to Adam, and Iblis refused. Why? Because of ego. The Quran says, he said, I am better than he. Thou hast created me from fire and created him from dust. Holy Quran 7 and 12. Listen carefully to the language. I am better. That is the voice of the inflated ego. I am better. I am smarter. I am wiser. I know more. I cannot be corrected. But who was Iblis talking to? That's the question we really need to pay attention to. Who was he talking to? He was talking to Allah Himself. This is what ego does when it becomes diseased. It challenges divine wisdom. It places personal opinion above revelation, above truth, above discipline, above righteousness. This becomes the inner dialogue of a sick minded, controlled by pride. And, brothers, this spirit has been repeating itself for the past 6,000 years. Cain has been killing Abel continuously. The inflated ego has been murdering humility, brotherhood, wisdom, peace, and divine nature within humanity for thousands of years. And this cycle must be broken. But in order to break it, we must first identify what the inflated ego looks like. It looks like arrogance. It looks like stubbornness. It looks like envy. It looks like self worship. It looks like the inability to accept correction. It looks like competition with one's brother. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that you can recognize the righteous by their humility as they walk the earth. And the Holy Quran confirms it and says, and the servants of the beneficent are they who walk on the earth in humility. Holy Quran 25 and 63, verse 63. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said humility is the key. I stopped there and asked the question, the key to what? And in my humble view, humility is the key to unlocking the true self. It frees the divine nature from the prison of the ego, because the ego was never meant to rule the self. The ego was never meant to govern the self. The self was meant to govern the ego. Humility allows a man to examine himself honestly. Humility allows correction. Humility allows growth. Humility allows wisdom to enter. The scripture says, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16 and 18. 16, chapter 18th verse. And again, God resists the proud, but gives grace unto the humble. James 4 and 6. Humility is not weakness. Humility is strength to confront oneself truthfully. It is the ability to stand before the light of God and allow that light to expose the darkness within the parasites, exposing the darkness within the parasites of pride, vanity, envy, jealousy, hatred, and self-glorification that seek to strangle out the life force and nature of God in man. That is the real self-work. That is the real jihad. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, referred to the greater struggle as the struggle against the lower self. And tonight, brothers, we lay a foundation, not merely for discussion, but for transformation. Because if we are ever to heal as a brotherhood, restore manhood, rebuild family, and reach the supreme felicity of life, we must engage in the serious work of mastering self, overcoming ego, and walking in humility, for humility is the key. And before we can become rulers, leaders, maintainers, protectors, and builders, we must first be brothers. So we welcome you, my brothers, to another edition of We Must First Be Brothers. And I pray, Allah, that He will bless us to engage in a very healthy and deep discussion on this subject matter. This is really like an exorcism, if you really understand, brothers. This is really the work of casting out demons. And I know we who have come from that background, we are sometimes in a spooky version of that. But we have to understand what we're saying here. The ego has such a stronghold on the Black man that we are operating primarily from reaction. We're not thinking through our actions and the steps that we need to take. We're not in control. We are merely reacting to stimuli. As soon as we feel threatened or the ego feels threatened, then we react and we don't think. And this is why so many of us are locked up in the penitentiaries. So many of us are beating the woman down. There's so many of us killing each other in the street. It's because we are operating based on an egotistic mentality. As I said, Cain has been killing Abel for the past 6,000 years. So this discussion is not lightweight discussion, brothers. This is heavy subject matter. That's why we at part 3. We might go to part 4 or 5 because we really need to dig deeply into this discussion and explode this in a way that we can expose it all the way across the board, because this is what's killing us. This is why we are not getting ahead. We're having too many pissing contests amongst black men. We're not respecting the brotherhood. We're not respecting the fact that in you is God. In me is God. In you is a gift and a talent that we can all benefit from. As we said last week, we are all interdependent. Brotherhood is not just, this is not just a talk session where we coming on here to talk. We're really trying to expose Shaitan inside of ourselves, brothers. Notice we don't spend a lot of time talking about white people on here. We don't have to. We need to dedicate our efforts and our energy to dealing with what's going on with us. We need to fix us. And this ego is a big issue, and the lack of humility is a big issue in our condition, brothers. So I am thanking you for tuning in, brothers, and joining the call. We want to get right into the mix. We have our illustrious brothers on, and we want every brother to engage and share with us your thoughts today, because I know we all have examples of where the ego, an inflated ego, has interfered with our ability to get something done, where we have been ill-affected or challenged or tested. And so we want to dig into this, and we want to, if we will, be very honest and if you don't mind, be vulnerable, to expose, to share real experiences, because this is not just about those of us on the call. You are the chosen. It's also about future generations and hopefully our young people that we can have an impact on that may see this in the future, God willing. So think broader in your delivery and in your sharing or whatever your experience is, but be genuine and honest, and let's stay true to the subject matter, because that's what time it is. Brother Lewis, we're going to get off with one of our point persons here, our co-host, Brother Lewis Ali in the South, and we're going to keep it moving from there. I can't hear you, brother.
Hear me?
Okay, I think so. Okay, now I can.
Hear me?
Okay, there we go. Yes, sir.
Oh my God. Your introduction was beautiful. You were on fire.
Praise be to Allah.
And I know everybody enjoyed it, because so much of what you said really needs to be said and needs to be dissected as we talk about humility, because this world has a way of trying to make humility or being humble as someone weak. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
sir.
Really, in order to build a new world, the currency or the medium of exchange won't be the dollar. It'll be our humility. That'll be the key to us tapping into the real resources. And see, we really don't have to be jealous or envious of someone else's gift, because the way God is, He put that gift in them for us. So the beautiful way you did the introduction today, oh, you done it, but it was for me, it was for Brother Terry's, Brother Tony, Brother Carlton. All of us are the beneficiaries of what Allah is saying through each of us, in particular, what you said this afternoon. And so, you know, the way we look at each other as brothers, Minister Farrakhan talked about in 1997 this must-study science, where he talked about deceptive intelligence, where we rationalize disobedience to God. And one of the things he talked about, he said he wanted to point out two demons. He said devils. One of them was deceptive intelligence, rationalizing disobedience to God. But the other was making improper comparisons. And he gave the example of toilet paper and sandpaper. See, the thing of it is, the reality of it is that in every brother you meet, there's a gift. And that gift is to fulfill a need. He don't give everything to me. He don't give everything to you or brother Carlton or brother Tony. He gives a piece of it to all of us and then asks us to work in uniformity, in a uniform operational unity, operational brotherhood. And what happens is too often we start comparing what your gift is in comparison to my gift when God gave both gifts. And then I start saying my gift is better than your gift. And before long, if God settles it and say, well, no, I want to use Michael's gift on today, I'll use yours tomorrow, Lewis, then that competition that the minister talked about, which is the fundamental foundation of envy. It don't start out as envy. It starts out as petty competition based on making improper comparisons, and then it grows into that ugly monster that's envy. And so when a person is comparing you to themselves, listen to what you said, Iblis said, and it says it in the Quran. I am better. The question is, who told you that? Did God tell you you were better? Or did he tell us to be servants? See, being a servant and being a slave is not the same because they don't come based on the same motivation. Now, when Minister Farrakhan signs his letters, and he happens to be the student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who Master Fard Muhammad chose, okay? He don't sign his letters slave to the lost found nation in the wilderness of North America. He signs his name servant. And I've been told that when you call him on the telephone, he don't say hello, what's happening? He says, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? See, when you see somebody and they're approaching you, and this is why Muslims don't get jacked no matter how deep they go in the hood. Muslims are not known, even though they're wearing suits and ties and driving reasonable cars. The brothers in the so-called hood don't jack the Muslims. Why? Because we're not there to floss. We're there to serve. We come to give a service. How you gonna rob a man that came to give you money, luxury, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life? How you gonna rob a man that not only wanted to give you food, but wanted to teach you to grow food? You see the brothers growing food now. How you gonna rob a man who didn't come to take you out of a house, but came to show you how to get a bigger house, a nicer house, to have a nice, peaceful family? You see? And the key to it isn't prowess, it's actually humility. And so this conquering of the ego that makes a person say, I am better. Can you imagine that? God gives us all the gifts, never told us to compare any of the gifts or be in competition. And here comes somebody saying, I'm better. I I think that these type of subjects should be mandatory in every Black organization and Black group.
Absolutely.
Too often, we'll give each other the greetings and we don't even ask the person what their gift is. See, we should always know a little something about what the person's gift is because the gift is there for us. The beauty of the gift that's wrapped inside of us. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of the brothers tonight and us having a lively discussion on this ego. I have some more, but I think I'll let the other brothers join in and then I'll come back to it.
All right. What was my brother you mentioned that was on the call?
That's Brother Terry. Brother Terry's on with us.
How you doing, brother Terry? Welcome, beloved. You like to make a comment, brother, just to start out? Yeah, we welcome you. Oh, you're driving. I see you driving, but if
Yeah,
So
he's
be
driving on the
careful.
road.
Okay. Be careful
You-
though.
I think he's driving, Brother Michael.
Okay, brother Carlton or brother Tony. Brother Tony.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, salam, brother.
Walaikum salam.
Let me see. My thing. Okay. My phone. Hold on. Okay. My camera on. If I can get it on. Okay. um. Yeah. It's funny that you were mentioning about humility. There's a booklet that the Ahmad Muhammad produced that I received. I got a make fish of it. It's like it's something that I had a make fish of that when I received it when I was in when I first came into the Nation of Islam, and the booklet is called The Proper Way of Handling People.
Mm, mm.
You all remember that?
Yes,
Remember
sir.
that booklet? The proper way of handling people is probably the most instrumental thing that can happen to you if you're going to be bringing people into the fold. You know what I mean? If you're going to be bringing them into the fold and try to keep them in as long as possible. And so I think that this we get a hold of this proper way of handling people. And also another thing that came to mind was general orders. These are things that humbled me. You know what I mean? These are things that made me see that I need to be more humble. I try and strive
Mm,
hard to be humble. It's a struggle, and it is a struggle with black men. I noticed it not only in myself, but other black men that I deal with. You have an ego situation going on where we are, ready to combat each other in conversation rather than having a dialogue, rather than having a discussion. We're ready to see each other wrong because of our point of view. Not that the brother's wrong, but the brother has a different point of view, and you can never get to that part of that if you don't guard your humility or guard your ego into the point that you're willing to listen to another brother that you may think you're greater than. You know what I mean? You have to humble yourself to that, and say, hey, look, let me see what, and then you'll find out that wait a minute, this is a God I'm at. This is a God that I'm talking to. Once you humble yourself enough to listen to what the brother has to say. And the proper way of handling people, it teaches you so many things about a person's name, so many things that about a person's I guess dress, and we know how to get to each other. You know what I mean? The way we get to each other, we start getting to each other is the way we look or the way we are or the way we talk or something like that. And that gets into the meat of each yeah, of a brother. And I do it. I do it sometimes myself. I've done it recently where, I was in a conversation or I guess an argument with a brother. And in order to dominate the argument, I felt like I had to say something that would make them feel some kind of way. And it did. It actually did. I said something, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, brother, that was an insult to me." You know what I'm saying? That it hurt his heart. It hurt him. I was kind of hurt by it too, but at the same time, I felt like his ego was flaring up so much that I had to say something to 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 make him feel some kind of way. You know what I mean? Which was really me being egotistical, me showing my ego, me coming out of humility to
mhm.
have to say something to the brother that I know probably is going to get to his inner self. And I did that because of the argument. I did that because it wasn't a discussion. It was something where we were trying to one up each other. You know what I mean? Egos ain't, you know what I mean? And
Yes,
this is
sir.
what happens to us. This is what's probably going on with Drake. I'm using Drake as an example. What's going on with Drake and that whole thing that went on with Kendrick Lamar? That's probably the biggest thing when it comes to the young people. Them seeing that play out and the egos at play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I believe that the ego is good, but then of course anything that you use or do too much, it can go to a point where you are doing what I did. My ego came into play, and all of a sudden I had to say, how you Joan, we used to call it Joning. You
Yeah.
crack on somebody and you say something to them. Y'all going back and forth, cracking on each other. Back when we used to play that game, and I did that game on the brother. I felt some kind of way about it afterwards, but that was my ego. That was my ego coming into play. That was me not using the proper way of handling people, only because I felt like he was his ego was going off.
Right.
That's I just want to bring that up. Maybe that's something we
Hey,
could all talk about. But Mike,
beautiful. I think that's a very beautiful example, Brother Carlton. I really do, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the manner in which you shared that, because that's exactly what we're dealing with as black men. Is that once we get triggered, and that's the thing about the ego. The ego is not the self. It is a part of what help to protect what we consider an identification in the self. So, in other words, if I have an identification where I'm, for instance, I'm the minister in my own way. I'm a leader, and then you challenge that, the ego will come in to try to defend my possession, my self-identification. See, so the ego is a defense. It operates as a defense mechanism. Now, in that instance, now you got another brother who also triggered. Now, what happens? You got two egos going at it, and the self of the brothers is not even operating. And the self is the righteous nature. It means simply, as Minister Jabril broke down so beautifully, he says self simply means nature. And when you come to the black man, it really represents the nature of God. So now we're acting outside of our nature. And then we attack each other, and we back and forth and back and forth, and it just gets heated and more elevated, because there has been an inflation in the ego. And once the ego is inflated, it is taking superiority over the self. And it was not designed in nature to govern the self. The self is the nature of God. Allah is the Lord of all the world. He controls everything. So the God of self has to be able to control every element of what goes on in our human behavior. That's why the minister put us so heavily on the study guide 18, rising above emotions, because the emotion is one of the bedrocks of when that ego gets triggered. Emotions start to get flared up, and before you know it, man, we will kill something, and what we have to realize as black men, we will literally kill, and we have killed and are killing each other. And that is the prevailing condition of what's going on in the block. Brother Carlton, you hit it right on the head. That's what's happening with our young people. They don't even, and what's even worse is our young people, because they have not been a man in the equation, that the black man has been moved out of that picture. In most cases, we're looking at the emotionalism that comes from being raised by mothers. Now you, and then tap on top of that ego. We got us a powder keg, bro. And
That's
I'm not
right.
the mothers. We love our mothers, and we thank them for the best of what they could do. But it was by design that the enemy moved the father out of the equation. It's by design, because the father's the authority. The father brings levelness and stability. He's supposed to bring stability to the equation. He's supposed to bring balance and authority and that kind of logical thinking to a child's mind, particularly a male child, But it was one thing that you said, and Brother Lewis, I think you piping up, but it was one thing that you said, brother, that my mind took me to our enslavement as a people. We have to realize that we have been beat down so much as black people, particularly as black men. Nobody has been beat down more on this entire, as they would say, the entirety of the planet Earth than black men. Nobody's been more insulted, more hated, more disregarded, more disrespected, starting from the plantation even into this very present moment.
That's right.
You see? So what happens is when you've been beat down, what happens, especially when you hear something good about yourself. You finally find out there's something good about yourself. You God, for instance. I had some brothers tell me, one brother told me, minister, he said, man, I was around here thinking I was Jesus. He literally was saying, he said, no, not a Jesus. He said, I was right here thinking I was Jesus. See, because that's the extreme end of coming from one extremity to another extremity of being totally nothing. And then finally hearing something is like somebody dropping water into you and you're just exploding because you were so thirsty to find out something good about you or learn something good about yourself. Now the ego is inflated to try to protect that new identification that you just learned. I'm God. I'm God. And so you keep feeding, I'm God. But you're feeding it from an egotistical way and not a knowledgeable way. And then that continues to grow. And now when somebody challenges that God that you have self-identified with, now it's a war.
ensued, you know, and this is what's happening with us, brothers. We have a lot of work to do on ourselves. This is why this is such a heavy discussion, and I'm trying to keep throwing it at us with the help of Allah so that we can keep looking at it, and maybe by the grace of Allah we can dig it out, bro. But we got to look at this seriously, because this is a problem all the way across the board. Whether we in the ranks, whether we outside of the ranks, it don't even matter. This is the problem. If you're not respecting your brother, you can't. That where are we going if we can't respect the brotherhood, man? You know, where are we gonna? How are we gonna build if I can't respect that you, God, and respect the greatness in you? It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And you mentioned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Brother Louis, and one thing that I notice every time I'm around him, I watch him bow to brothers. I watch him speak life into brothers every single time I've been around the brother, in private settings, you know, in hotel rooms, in dinner. Every time I watch him grab brothers by their hand and start talking to the brother and saying good things to the brother, telling the brother things that he sees in them as a potential, and encouraging that in them every single time. You know, that's a significant place and station to be at in development, when we're able to look for the best in our brother and promote the best in our brother. But we got to remove this egoist mentality and what I'm calling an inflated ego. You got to understand that word inflated is important. You know, that word inflated is important, because that's the puffing of that ego. That inflation of that ego is, oh, I'm better. I'm the man. I'm the one. Listen to me. Bow down to me. Follow me. No, sir. You said it right, Brother Louis. Today, Allah might show up in Brother Michael. Tomorrow, or in the next 5 minutes, the next 30 seconds, he might show up in Brother Louis or Brother Carlton or Brother Tony. The key for us is, are we listening for God? You know, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in our lessons, he said, "You are all Allah." He's telling us that we all carry attributes of the God. So, Brother Louis, I feel like you ready to say something, beloved.
Thinking about ego, you know, the ego always wants to be recognized. And it don't want to serve. It wants to be served. It wants to be recognized. And so if you don't recognize not the gift that they don't necessarily want to share, but if you don't recognize the ego, then it triggers the person with an inordinate ego. So their name has to be constantly called, constantly praised, to the degree that you neglect praise of the supreme being who gave you the gift to begin with. And this happens. Sometimes you can be on a team, but you want to be a team in and of yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So you don't care if you have an ego, if your team is losing, long as you get that 40 points a night, so that all the fans who are not necessarily followers can praise you for 40 points a night. But you don't understand that you're on a team, and your team is losing all the time. See, the black team is behind the white team right now.
Yes, sir.
And we are by far more creative and more talented than the white team. But our talent is not organized, because we're competing with one another to see who can get the 40 points
Right.
on one night. This is important.
Yes.
Because every black organization, think of a time and look in your organization. Look in your church. Look in your family. Look in your immediate family. How come y'all are not pooling your talents together? When Spanish people come here, Spanish speaking people come here, they don't have no college degrees. Most of the immigrants that come to this country do not have college degrees. They'll bunker down in a house, start putting a little money together. You think about this here. And before long, each one of them contributes $200 or $300 a month for 2 or 3 years. And the next thing you know, that house is paid for, a lot of times cash. But they take their skills and start putting their talent and sewing their talents together. If you went out to one of these construction sites, I'll say like a roofing job or cabinets or whatnot, and you just studied how the so-called Hispanics do it, they have 2 or 3 really talented carpenters, maybe on the job, out of 30 people. And the rest of them are just mostly laborers who follow orders. They're foot soldiers. But they are obedient to those ones who tell them to go get a board. And after a while, their skill level is elevated because you learn what you're around. But if the leadership is competing with each other, trying to one up one another, and that's what our ego causes us to do. So it becomes very difficult. Oh, he ain't the only one who can score 40 points. I can score 40 points too in the game. You want to score 40 points in the game, but you don't care if your team wins. You don't dive for loose balls. You don't hustle. You just want to win as an individual. You don't think, how can 5 of us go in a community and live in close proximity for one another so that we can benefit from one another's skill? How about taking one another's children to school and not being a pedophile either? How about picking somebody's children up from school? How about trying to cook a meal? The Spanish, I work with some Spanish brothers, and I noticed that it might be 15 of them on the job. 1 or 2 little Spanish ladies would come out there on lunch break, and she didn't cook food for all of them. And they all give a few little dollars here or there. And the next thing you know, she got a food truck. She got a restaurant. It's because of the ego that keeps us from uniting with one another. I want to say something else too.
Teach.
What about when we are talented and we're a father and we're training our young sons, we're developing them, and then they start getting recognition in the field that we trained them in? Now, when you're training somebody, you do have to be firm and hard on them sometimes in order to make them into somebody. I'll give you an example. Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. is a great fighter. He was a great fighter. He slept, ate, and breathed boxing. That wasn't something he did on the weekends. They lived that life. But when you become a star, you really need your trainer more than ever. But your trainer has to learn how to make some fight adjustments. And you don't want to become the kind of person that when a person becomes a bird and they start to fly high, they don't eat in the air. They still got to come back down to the earth to eat. And you should be there to feed the bird when he comes back down to eat. But what some of us do is we put a chain around the bird's neck. And when the bird gets to flying high, to show the bird we still in control, we yank the bird. But I can make your children have resentment for you. I can even make them almost hate you. They have a love-hate kind of relationship. Why doesn't your ego applaud the fact that you were able to make a bird or make a god. You know how it says in the Quran, he made a bird from dust. See, when you're fashioning someone and you're helping them develop, they become better than you. You get credit from being like the coach or the customata or the Pat Riley, the person who develops the talent. But when they're doing things that's great, don't let your ego get so out of shape that you say, I knew this little N when he wasn't nothing. See, some of us talk like that. That's not God. That's the ego talking.
Right.
That's you comparing yourself to
Yeah.
something that you helped to create and then making yourself in competition to your son, in competition to your daughter. You wouldn't be nothing without me.
That's
Well,
right.
Allah, I just said earlier that Allah put different gifts and talents in all of us to serve other people other than ourselves. Some of us are great at finding talent and helping talent to develop. But at a certain point, we have to ask ourselves the question, did I train my son to be an engineer, to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, to be a great artist? Did I train them to do that for the glory of God, or show that I could show them just how great the gift was in them? Or did I do it for my ego? See? And there's that, so there are different levels to how we see this. And I heard an interview, and I wish everyone would go and watch it. It was Roy Jones Jr. He was talking about his father. And the interview, they asked him, they said, well, were you raised by your father? And he didn't deny it. He said, yes, I was raised by my father. But he described his father in one section of the interview. He talked about hunting. And anybody down south knows that when you go hunting squirrels, there's an art to it. And I don't want to get all over the board, but just a quick story about the squirrel. When he shot some squirrels and he noticed that the squirrels didn't have testicles. And he asked his daddy, he said, why don't they have testicles? What kind of squirrel is this? And his daddy laughed. His daddy laughed because the male squirrel, after he impregnates the female and she has the babies, he goes from nest to nest eating the testicles out of the little baby boy squirrels. He smells them and then he eats their testicles because he thinks that they're going to grow up and be in competition against him. See the psychology, the sick ego psychology? And some of us, we don't feel comfortable around men who are actually men. We feel a need to destroy their testicles and destroy their creativity. And that's what makes some of us kill others of us. And it has to stop, Brother Mike.
Brother, you're hitting on so many points, and I appreciate you carrying it. Because I think back again, that's Cain killing Abel. That's Cain. And I remember one brother taught a subject on it. He talked about Cain as being a numbing agent, like as in cocaine and numbs. Novocaine and numbs. And then even when you think of sugar cane itself, it's a toxin to the body. It ultimately destroys and breaks down the immune system. So when you consider that, that this is the perpetual mindset, the perpetual condition and circumstances that we live in, is this constant killing that which is from God. As you were talking, I also was reflecting on what I believe is something very significant, and that's how sick we really are. Listen, I know this is something we don't like to do sometimes, or even like to discuss, but I've been really going heavy on this study on the ego, not just for preparation, but I said, man, I need to really dig into this study, on the ego. What's really going on with me? Because Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, get the knowledge of self. He said, get a knowledge of self. And it occurred to me, most of us, we don't know who we are. We really think that what we represent to the world is the true you. You think that what you have become based on the social construct that shaped you, which was the way your mother talked to you, how you reacted to that. You developed a system of reacting to how she talked to you, how your father talked to you. You developed a system of how to react. That became a part of you. So then whenever that type or characteristic or a stimulus showed up in somebody else, then that became your natural response to that. How you were treated in school, that became a part of you. Your attitude, how you throw your weight. That's a brother that put a book out called Black Pose, and they're talking about why black men, how we walk a certain way. You know, how we be carrying ourselves because we shift in weight from our body, the stresses and the weights of the world that's on us, and we shift, and that's why we move the way we was moving, you know. And so when you consider that much of what you see in what we think is ourself is really not ourself. That's why I said it's a lot of layers to this thing. It is something that has been created, as something that you had to do or your ego helped to create to help you to survive. We got to know the difference, brother. To survive the hostile environment that we are growing up in as black men. Understand what I'm saying again. We are in a hostile environment. You're in a hostile environment when you ride up the street. You got to concern yourself with whether or not you're going to be pulled over and murdered by a Caucasian police officer. You're in a hostile environment when you got to ride up the street and you got to concern yourself with whether or not your brother, your own brother, is going to kill you, shoot you down in the street. You see, you're in a hostile environment when your woman does not even respect you as a man, thinks she's smarter than you, deduces your intelligence, doesn't understand your need for love, and places your value only based on what you have and not who you are. Things that we don't talk about as men because we've been made to be hardened and tough. We can't show that we have a tender and gentle side to our nature. So we gotta be hard all the time. We gotta be tough all the time. We gotta I'll bust a ninja's head. You better not come at me. You know, even when we was to shadow box and play like we was gonna fight, we wasn't playing like we was gonna fight the enemy. We was preparing ourselves to fight another brother. Think over how our psyche is. You see, so what we think is self is not really self. It is an identification developed for survival purposes. So when Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, get knowledge of self, he said the black man must get a thorough knowledge of himself. I don't know if we really understand the magnitude of the wisdom of what the man is saying to us. He's not telling us to go study the history of the black man. That will give you some ideas of how great we have been. It will tell you our potential. But when you start going deeper into the study, it will take you right to the God himself. He told us in the introduction, in the enrollment, he said that the original man, the black man, is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, cream of the planet. He's the original man, cream of the planet, God of the universe. He gave us an intro, a lightweight intro into who we are. He wasn't telling us that in contrast to white people. He wasn't telling us that so we could start to feel superior, because a feeling is fleeting. He was tapping us in with our genetic identification. He was tapping us in with our origin. Process with me, brother. See, so if you notice, I've been kind of driving this thing, the black man is God. I've been driving it hard every time I get an opportunity to say it. I'm not saying it as a pump up. I'm saying it because it is the divine truth. Process with me. It is the absolute truth. It is an exact truth. It is the absolute historical fact that the black man is God. Now, that's not to make you feel good and puff you up. That's to put the responsibility on us.
That's right.
Take our rightful position, bro.
That's right.
That's what that's there for. My brother, I'd love to hear from you, black man. I see you got that mic unmuted, black man. Go ahead. Put some bars on us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir?
Come on in with it, brother.
Welcome. God.
God.
Yes, sir. This is my first time being on. I just thank Allah that Brother Ali
sent me the text to join. So I'm just listening and learning, beloved. At first, I was driving. I was coming into Chicago, Illinois, and now I'm in Chicago on the south side in Inglewood in the rail yard right now. But you know, I'm just listening and learning, brother. Striving to get back on track, brother. I don't really have too much to say, but one thought did come to mind when we was talking about humility. And I remember an older brother when I was like 11, 12 years old. They used to call me Little Marcus, in my neighborhood. And he said, "Little Marcus, you can learn something from a baby."
Yeah.
And that always stuck with me. And even to now, that Allah blessed me to make 52 years of age this month.
Looking good.
That praise be to Allah. Even though I need to shave and stuff, brother, I be out here on
Good,
the
brother. You
road.
looking good. We see the light on you, brother.
Praise be to Allah. You know, that always stuck with me. And I never try to get too big on myself. And I always want to look, listen, and learn, brother. But right now, that's the mindset I'm in. This is my first time on. I just want to look, listen, and learn, beloved.
Thank you
So
so
I thank Allah. Thank you, brother Louis Ali. And I remember you sent me a text recently, but you know, I'm not on social media. I just took a break from it. To get my mind back right, to start back studying and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I'm here just thanking a lot for the brotherhood, brother. And
Yes,
people know me that know me in Chicago, brother. They know Brother Terry is about the brotherhood, brother.
that's what it's about, brother. Yes, sir. Well, we
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, brother, and we feel your spirit, brother. We feel your vibration, and grateful to have you
For
on.
the record,
Go
when
ahead,
I
brother.
first started noticing Brother Terry, I immediately was attracted because he was in the dirt like me. He,
Yeah.
he
Yes, sir.
grows food too. So we
That's
love him in
right.
the dirt. And you know, it's something about working in the dirt.
Yes, sir.
It brings about humility also because we walk across dirt every day and we take it for granted so much. And I'm big on land literacy.
Yes,
But
sir.
but the crops that you grow always show you the different kind of personalities that you'll come across. When you grow tomatoes like wet feet, and they like a lot of attention. You grow broccoli, carrots, Brussels sprouts, greens, they like firm ground. uh, you grow okra. Okra, you have to give a little spanking to, and they're very sociable. But once it's up and going, okra and watermelons they'll conquer weeds and everything. So you learn
Mm.
what plants want. And I found, and this is on the subject, but off the subject, that I think that growing food is a way to help purify the ego and purify us, our psychology a lot, because plants don't lie, steal, or cheat. So
Teach,
you
brother.
can detox
Mm.
working in a garden or working outside with the dirt. And some of my biggest thoughts I get from working on the land. So shout out to Brother Terry for coming through.
So much.
And we do see you, black man, when you out there working on the land. And it's inspirational, and a lot of young brothers. And let me tell you something else about Brother Terry's good father, takes care of his boys, and he got a tractor, and he's also out there working with them. And this is what we got to do.
Yes.
You always got something advertising on black men working.
That's right.
Look,
Yes.
man, it's nothing wrong with us working hard. I just wish that he lived in the South next door to Louis Ali from the South.
Yes, sir.
Is it because we're so valuable? I mean, if you
Yes,
Yes,
got
sir.
brothers
sir.
who got skills, my motto is skills pay the bills,
Deals. That's right.
So if you have brothers who are talented and who work on the land, and even if you're not good at it, if you're next door to a next door neighbor, man, growing food and working on the land is just like shooting basketball. All of us are victims and beneficiaries of the environment that we're in. So if you're in an environment where there's gang banging, you can't tell me you ain't gonna be no gang banger.
That's right.
I'm not being disrespectful, but if you're in an environment where people are practicing skilled trades and so forth, before long, you'll have a few trades up under your belt. And
Yes,
so
sir.
shout out the FOI. I always say the Muslims are the best.
Yes,
That's right.
sir.
Yeah.
That's
Praise.
right. Praise be
Brother
to
Lewis,
Allah.
you really hit it though, brother Lewis, when you said that that going and getting in the dirt will bring about a healing, and it really
That's
will.
right.
It really will. Touching those plants and talk. My mother had a green thumb. So if you came to her home, it was plants everywhere. This woman had plants all over the house. Her house was an ecosystem of good breathing for sure. But she also, when we were younger boys, she made sure we stayed outside. And I mean, we had a garden in the backyard. We had tomatoes. We had, we had every type of, fruit, vegetable you kind of think of. We was growing back there in that backyard. And my mother was planting in that backyard and had us back there, pulling them weeds up out the ground and cutting the grass, but it does ground you and it allows you time to reflect. That's why we had a conversation not long ago about, getting a crew of brothers and coming down and working in the field with each other and building on the principles of brotherhood. It will detox us. Many of us don't even realize that our feet haven't touched the ground in years. Some of us don't even walk outside in the dirt, let alone touch the dirt and reconnect with the earth and get that vibration and electrical impulse that's coming off the earth. All of these things are relevant to helping us to address some of the sicknesses that we have in our spirit.
That's right.
Like I was going on, and the point that I was making about how ill we are, how sick we are psychologically, bro. It ties right into that. We have to find ways to find balance back in our lives as men, because this is why we are off the charts. As it is. This is why young people are off the chart. They fly the handle. There's no grounding whatsoever. And so, it's a good movie I want to recommend to brothers to kind of check out on this subject, because it's really, really phenomenal. What we're talking about is way deeper, and we're really just scratching the surface. But it's called Glass with I think Samuel Jackson is in the movie. He's one that is very fragile bones. He gets broken at any cost. And then there was this other, I forget the other Caucasian who was a pretty popular actor. And then another Caucasian, but these three were dealing with the ego was connected to this. Samuel Jackson was super brilliantly wise, manipulative, just a powerful minded brother. He was brain. He had nothing else to offer, but he was a brain. And then forget what the other guy named. He played in Die Hard and all. I think it's Die Hard and all those. But anyway, that Caucasian, he was strong. He would get into accidents and whatnot and walk away from, like it was a train accident. He walked away unharmed because he had the ability to self-heal. And then there was this other Caucasian who was really the worst of all of them. He was called Monster. He was like a monster. He would he had multiple personalities inside of him that were communicating with each other. Now, this is something we really need to pay attention to, brothers. I know it's a little, I'm not trying to be anybody's psychiatrist or anything, but I'm saying that we have to look at it like this, because we have developed different identifications to address different issues that come up in our life. When you go study the character, this monster character, he had a little girl voice inside of him that would talk to him, he had his whole system of a family inside of his own being that helped him to deal with certain things. When he became extremely angry and upset, he literally could scale walls. Now, I know when you really understand significance of this, it shows you the power really of the human mind and capacity when we really tap in. But we need to study this as Black men, because most of us don't realize who we are. So today you wake up, like today I woke up, I wasn't feeling top 10, spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So I said, man, and I was just dragging a little bit, but I had to go visit, do a photo shoot with a client. And so I start talking to the God, Then I said, okay, man, I'm pop on something because I'm studying. And so I put on an audio book. I'm studying this book on the ego. I found another book on the ego. I'm studying, because I'm trying to really tap in. But I'm also recognizing and paying attention to myself. And this is what I'm getting at. I'm literally studying me. And this is what we need to do more of as brother. Pay attention to your own behavior. The Quran talks about the recording angel, one on your left shoulder and one on your right, but it's recording your good deeds, but we have to study and really look at ourselves. Who am I today? Today you're happy, you're ready to take on the world and everything is good. Tomorrow you wake up, nothing changed in you per se, but why the next day you wake up and you're feeling like the world coming to the end, everything caving in around you. See, these are
These are what we call identifications that we need to study, because when you have been abused as much as we have been abused, such as that monster on glass, he had been abused. It caused him to construct different personality to help him to deal with life as it was coming to him. I know, my brothers, this is, like I said, is a very deep area of discussion, but it's very relevant because most of us don't realize that we have these type of spiritual illnesses that is being manipulated even by the ego. So even you come into the wisdom of God, you come into the truth. Now all of a sudden you think you're more powerful than everybody. You can't listen. You got some of us who grow up the ranks. Then we want to challenge our teachers. We every stage when if we haven't fixed ourselves or really taken a look at ourselves, then we will find ourselves in opposition. So it's like the Quran said, we start out an insignificant thing like a clot. I mentioned it last week. Something, you just walk by and step over on the sidewalk. But then we grow into an embryo, or we go from a clot to an embryo into a fetus. And then after a while, we're born through the womb of a woman. And then after a while, we're crawling on 4 legs. And then next thing you know, we're standing on 2. And the first thing that we do is we challenge God. You think over that. We start to challenge the author of our own existence. And this is where the Quran goes into saying that man thinks himself to be self-sufficient. So these are areas that we really need to study. We need to learn how to pay attention to why am I thinking like this? Why am I behaving like this? So that we can perform the appropriate exorcism on ourselves. So we don't have to keep moving down the path that leads to Judas, the Doubting Thomas, and every other betrayer throughout history. You see, because we allow something to override our righteous nature, and then we started following it instead of following God. Brother Carlton.
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry about that, brother. But anyway, this is an interesting conversation. This is deep, brother. I love it. The brother that's got the iPhone thing on, the brother that was traveling Chicago. What's your name?
Brother Terry.
Brother Terry, I've seen your videos, brother. You working in the field.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Inspiring me, brother. I'm trying to get me some land because of you. I mean, not because of you, but that's what we're supposed to be doing. But you're inspiring me. I've seen your videos, bro. I just want to let you know that you out there. We see you. You know what I mean? And I want to acknowledge you and let you know that you're inspiring us to get back to where we need to be, and that's to the earth. The other thing I wanted to say is the ego, the thing about the ego and results that happen from the ego in our community. And we have to, I love the ego of the black man. I mean, I love it, but at the same time, we go overboard. You know what I'm saying? I love to see the bravado of us, because that God coming out of us, that thing that we have that is just like, I am it. When we finally find out that we're it, that we are God. You know what I mean? And I love it to see it in brothers. I love that, brother. I love to see it. I see it in brother Ali, but I see the humility. I see it in you, brother Michael, but I see the humility. You all, to me, have a sense of balance that I see so far. You know what I mean? And all praise is due to Allah. I mean, you're bringing something out that that shows that what we need to be. You're being an example. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to tell you that, and I wanted to say, hey, man, you know, to the brothers out there that I may have offended or that I may have said some things, I'm gonna say some things that's sharp because I want to do the mission and I want us to accomplish the goal. You know what I mean? I want us to build a nation. I want us to have what the Elijah Muhammad told us we should have. So some of the times I may come off, you know what I mean, as arrogant myself, you know what I mean, as arrogant or egotistical myself. But in reality, man, I'm going through some changes, right? I have ups and downs. Yet last year, about this time, I was doing good. You know what I mean? Everything was popping. This time this year, you know what I mean? All things considered, with the whole thing that's going on with the economy, I'm stuck in. I'm linked into the economy. I'm a stock guy. I'm a real estate guy. So when things happen with the economy, it affects me. And right now, if you really doing something in the economy, like a black man, we get affected because I'm out like you were saying before. We're out here doing stuff, you know what I mean, on our ego. I don't have no real connection with the brotherhood where there is some kind of security, because I mean I look at these white boys and I look at these Hispanics, and I'm out here working, and I see myself alone, brother. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
So, I see myself alone. That's why I'm here. I see
Yep.
myself alone in the economic struggle that I'm going through right now. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That's
Yeah.
real. I see
Get
myself
it.
alone.
Yeah.
I, I could ask you for $1 million, you know what I'm saying? And it would solve my problems. No. You know what I'm saying? It won't solve my problem because my brother needs $1 million. And
Yeah.
my brother needs $1 million. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We
Yeah.
need things. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
I,
So
I,
I hope that shows my humility here.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
definitely. I feel your
yeah,
heart, brother.
I
I feel
do.
your heart.
I
Go ahead,
do.
brother.
You know
Go
what I'm
ahead.
saying? I am in a struggle, not only financially, you know what I mean? And you can say, well, whatever, Ninja, you just didn't make the right decisions. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You can say that, you can say this or that. But I planted a seed, right? We talking about plants, right? I
yes.
planted a seed in the ground. And only I love growing tomatoes. That's my thing. You know what I mean? I planted one seed in the ground, and I planted like 20 seeds in the
Yes.
ground that I'm planting on. And only one of them came up, bro.
Yes.
That's to tell you about my financial situation.
Yes,
Only
sir.
one of them came up. It's not enough. It's
That's
not
right.
enough. So
Yes.
I invested in buying some more plants that were grown. Just give me an example, right? That were already grown. My one plant, I believe that my one plant that is growing is going to be the best of the plants because I grew it from a seed. It's going
Yeah.
to be the best tasting tomato.
Yes.
But I had to, if I want to be economic about this thing, I got to buy some tomatoes that's already advanced.
Yes.
So this is the finances that costs me, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
see what I'm saying? And I'm taking a risk here.
Yes.
And I'm out here on my own
Yeah.
little garden, my own little,
Yes.
thing. And I
Yes.
don't have no other planners like y'all brothers
Yeah.
around me. Y'all around me now, but y'all are here as a
Yes, sir.
spiritual, in a spiritual sense, and maybe in a more sense too down the road.
Yes.
But I'm trying to show you that the
Down the
black
road.
man has the weight of the universe on his shoulder. Every black man.
Mhm.
That's right.
And in the Nation of Islam, we
Yes.
prove that by putting the star and crescent on each shoulder of every FOI.
That's right.
Every FOI wears the star and crescent on his shoulder because he has the weight of the universe. So
Yes.
don't think that you are so much, or I am so much. I think that I am so much that I'm the only one that has the universe on my shoulders.
Right. That's
Brother,
right.
you going through it. We all
Yeah.
going through it. We gonna get through it. Because
Yeah.
I was telling my son just a minute ago, we going through a trial right now, but we've always gotten through it by Allah's grace.
That's
That's right.
And I
brother.
don't
Man,
know that, I hope that wasn't rambling too much, but I
No,
just wanted to
no.
say that.
no, you right on point, brother. You can see brother Lewis and I both jumping at the bit because you really just opened up the really beautiful place. But go ahead, brother Lewis, and then I'll come
Yes,
behind you.
sir. Yes,
That
sir.
was
Yes, sir.
so powerful what Brother Carlton
Powerful.
was saying.
Powerful.
And believe it or not, I hear a lot of humility in
Yes.
that.
Yes.
It's a hell of a thing for a man to say he feels alone.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
See, and this is a safe space where
Yes.
you can say that because you ain't the only person
That's
that
right.
feel alone. Brother Carlton, you can be in a room full of people
Mhm.
and still feel spiritually and psychologically and mentally alone. You could be married to a person and feel alone. And it's something that we have to go through because the original God, the creator of the universe, sun, moon, and stars, he felt alone.
Yes.
And in his loneliness, it takes Dr. Ava Muhammad to talk about it, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught about it. He felt frustrated.
Yes.
Frustration is natural for a man who is alone mentally and spiritually.
Teach.
The physical don't even matter if you're mentally and spiritually alone.
Teach.
This is why being equally yoked is so important.
That's right.
Because you can't get what you need alone if you created to be a social being.
Yes.
And you feel like darkness is covering you as if nobody sees your ideas or sees you. And so ultimately, you go to war.
Yes.
Because of this.
Yes.
This is why war takes place, to bring into existence your idea or to find your second self within self. Some bodies to help you reproduce your vision, your idea, what you want for the world that you were duty bound to create it. See, it's natural for us to want to be around like-minded people, but suppose you go to an environment and there is none like unto you. How does that make you feel? How does that make your ego feel? Is it just ego, or is it the God trying to come out of you to manifest that which he put in you for the benefit of those around you? See, so you're doing some real, man, when you said that about being alone, see, that frustration is what too often we meet in one another. You're frustrated, I'm frustrated. So what do? Must we kill each other now? Because all in the Black community, it's loaded with frustration. And this is the value of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the program that he brought back to us. It is a man and a model to show us how to overcome that frustration and how to go to war with the beast who put us in this situation. Now, Brother Mike said something that a lot of brothers, we're not going to gloss over it. But do you know what it's like to not have any sway over your women? To be ignored and disrespected by the woman that God gave us? To not even, our point of view is not even acknowledged. You can't have a vision for your children as a man as to what you want them to be, because the devil, Satan, Shaitan, has come in our houses and our homes and turned it upside down and inside out to where the woman's vision is on top of the man's vision. That's frustrating. And to Mike's point, he said the only way you can look like you got a little authority, which you don't, is you have a medium of exchange that's actual money. If you have money, then the money talks, not the humility, not the responsibility, not the accountability, not the vision, but the paper money. So if you don't have the paper money, then you're even more frustrated. But look here, the minister didn't have money in the beginning. And he didn't have people who believed in his visions and his ideas. He didn't have a lot of people. The same way we have to find like-minded people, so did he. And those like-minded people were known as the believers. Well, now we're moving through just being the believers. Now we got to become conquerors and people who share the vision of Minister Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and build our world and build our world and build our world.
Absolutely, Brother Lewis. And I just want to jump right in and keep, because we want to keep this fire lit and moving it around, you know, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here with this program, brother. Brother, is we must first be brothers, you know, and you really struck me too very deeply, Brother Carlton, because that's what I'm trying to kick up. If you really want to know, I want us as brothers, with the help of Allah, to get on that level of realness, because that's when we start to really to get to the meat of what is going on with us. If we can't be that vulnerable, because that's why I open even sharing with my own self. I have felt the exact same thing, the exact same struggle as Brother Lewis, the same frustration as a man trying to make it navigate. In fact, about it, moving so alone at times, you know, and then realizing you really can't do this by yourself, bro. You can't do this by yourself, bro. None of us are going to be successful. We may have a measure of success. Don't get me wrong. You may have a measure of success, and praise be to Allah, because we want you to be successful no matter how it comes with the help of Allah. But I'm just saying the level of success that we need and the sustainable, secure success that we need is going to happen when we are practicing a unified brotherhood, when we have a unified brotherhood. You see what I'm saying? That's what fixes. Minister Jabril, I'm coming right to you, Brother Tony. You know, Brother Minister Jabril said something. I was listening to him today. Phenomenal. He said, we are in this right now. Black people are in that stage of darkness that existed when Allah was in the darkness, creating a new, beginning to create a whole new universe and a whole new reality. He said, we are in that stage right now, in a stage of darkness where a new reality is about to come into fruition. That's where we are, brothers. We're in, so it's not a forever darkness, but what we're working out right now, just on this principle. And again, I'm not pushing it as if it's my agenda. I'm pushing it because it's very much the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is his instruction. We must first be brothers. So when you read the Quran, it says we and us. You say, and we adorn the heaven with star, and we created man, and we, Allah allows us to be a part of that we, because that's the brotherhood activated. And we have to reactivate that brotherhood right now. So we can say we and us, and we went out and planted some tomatoes, and we went out and cultivated and tilled that soil, and we went out and chopped down them trees and made lumber, and we built houses, and we built communities for our children, and we built schools and made them in neighborhoods that were safe and decent. We bought land, and you see what I'm saying? When we start talking like that, brother, now we are operating on a whole nother level. And guess what? It's not a pipe dream.
That's right.
It's not a pipe dream, brother. I'm beyond.
Right.
You know, and it seems like my brother. We grew up in that era where blacks killing blacks, and everybody always talk about we ain't gonna never get together. Oh no, we in a time where we can make it happen now, brother. We got the juice to make it happen right now. You see, we got the power to activate it because we have an invincible truth that will allow us to activate it right now. But we got to keep it 100, and we got to start dealing with these things, brother Tony.
Tony, come on in, brother.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How's everyone doing this evening?
Alaikum salam.
Praise be to Allah. I chimed in. I was going, I tried to chime in earlier, but y'all went in a different direction. So I wanted everybody to tackle that point and let everything draw out that came out from that particular idea that yourself and Brother Carlton and Brother Lewis put on the table. But I jumped in at this particular time because you mentioned the need for brotherhood. And that's so crucial because a lot of people do not learn that need for brotherhood. And because that need has not been learned, we tend to deal with brothers on a superficial level. And we tend to talk about and profess brotherhood on a superficial level. So the intricacies of brotherhood get lost. And I just want to share briefly just something that having been incarcerated, one of the things that we focused on real intently. There's a book by a Japanese 16th century Japanese sword master named Musashi, and he wrote the book entitled The Five Rings. And that Five Rings was dealing with a certain level of discipline that a person had to have in order to qualify for anything. See, because it's not just a discipline problem that we as men have. It's more than that. It's, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, it's a root problem. And what did he say that root problem was? He said that it's our identity. How can we join on with one another when I don't know who you are and you don't know who I am? That's right. So the root problem has to be addressed first. And that's why in the penitentiary, one of the things that we did, because see, you can lose your life any day in the penitentiary. Yes. You know, and we went through the fire. Some people don't understand the level of fire that we went through being in the belly of the beast. And I'm not saying that brothers don't go through fire in the world, but it's a different kind of fire when you're directly under an authority who has nobody watching him and is not beholden to anybody else and can do anything to you whenever they choose to. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm pointing that out again is because we understood how valuable the brotherhood was in the penitentiary, because the white man understood that if I do anything to these men who are lined up here in these pressed uniforms and these bow ties, one of my officers is going to die. Why did we make it so heavy like that? Because we knew that our lives was on the line, and we made sure that every brother understood that. And if he didn't understand that, then we didn't even want him around us. Excuse me. And one of the ways that we made him understand that is that we had a deliberate process, which was to make you go deliberately expose yourself to adversity. One of the things in adversity that we did was we had a exercise regimen that was so intense. Now, we didn't just exercise for the sake of being exercising and putting yourself under pain. I mean, it wasn't that going through difficulty without purpose. That's just masochism. It's just somebody who likes pain for the sake of liking pain. But when you go through difficulty that is on your path, then that deliberate exposure to adversity that is on the Sirat al-Mustaqim that God put forth for you, it is so important because it puts you constantly up under a certain degree of stress that you understand where your breakdown points are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Brother Carlton talked about being vulnerable. You have to know where your breakdown points are, because if you don't know where your breakdown points are, your brother can't come in, like the messenger said, when you see a weak believer, make him strong. He didn't say when you see a weak believer, beat him down. And that's why I like when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did Malcolm X 28 years later. He brought out some beautiful points of how even though Malcolm strayed, there was an extreme violation of brotherhood that was dealt with when we handled Malcolm. And we're dealing with the consequences of that, he said, today. What was that? He said, first of all, we receive word from the man who represents God. Therefore, God is speaking, and the messenger told us to leave that man alone.
Teach, brother.
So when we disobeyed the messenger, we disobeyed Allah, regardless to our love for the messenger. We loved the messenger, and he said that anybody who loved the messenger would have killed anybody for him at that time. He said, but there was obedience is bigger than sacrifice, because the messenger said he was bringing Malcolm back to speak to the Nation of Islam and to repent for what he did. And that would have been a greater show of Allah's wisdom, mercy, and reconciliation than killing that man. Anybody can kill a goddamn man. You see what I'm saying? So when we went against the messenger of Allah, we went against God himself. And what we did was we became emotional bandits who hijacked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in that exchange. Because what did we say? We said, oh, because of my love for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I got a right to get off and cast the gate and speak down to Malcolm. But that's not what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. You see what I'm saying? So being an emotional bandit and hijacking somebody's emotional right to indignation. If Brother Michael gets offended, everybody knows this is my man. If I raise up and be like, man, what you talking to my man like that? We can get it in. But he say, no, Brother Tony, because I got a deeper relationship with this brother, and I'm trying to make sure we can reconcile. But if you hijack the emotion on my behalf, then you do something that I might not have planned to do. And so then I take the grace and the power out of Brother Michael's hands to resolve the situation. And I hijack it as an emotional bandit, and I use my own emotions to project it on that situation. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me to my face when I kept talking about Malcolm, did his tongue need to be cut off and mailed to them? He's told me to my face, leave him alone. What is he talking about? This is a man 30-something years your senior. I know better than you. And the minister went on to say, it's because he knew tomorrow better than we knew yesterday. And so I'm only saying that to say that one of the things that the minister pointed out too, and I'll say this, he said the reason why nobody could reach Malcolm because it was their own personal envy and jealousy and personal gripes that they had with him. And he said that everybody who went to him, listen to this, went at Malcolm. He said they wasn't reaching for their brother who went astray. They came at him as somebody who had an axe to grind. You see what I'm saying? So one of the things that we learned interdependent when we were incarcerated was that no matter how far we went in our disagreements, we went by the rules that, and in fact, Brother Michael gave me this book that I used to use in the joint. It is called The Principles of Brotherhood by Al-Ghazali. And we would never let 3 days go by when brothers did not reconcile. I don't care how hard it was. You see what I'm saying? And so we would do that because the purpose of God's coming was greater than my emotional dissatisfaction. So even though I love the brother, I love the nation, and I might feel like somebody did something to offend it, my brother's salvation is more important than my perceived offense. Because because God says in one of the hadiths, the Holy Prophet said that Allah told him that I gave one part of my attribute. The reason why he never gave anybody his title to wear of Rahim, he said, because that's my attribute of mercy. You can be Rahman, but you can't be Al-Rahman. He said, I gave one part of my attribute of mercy to my creation, and I saved the other 99 attributes of my mercy for my people in the day when I come. So even Prophet Muhammad knew there was a day when God was coming, and you can't even believe in the Holy Prophet Muhammad without believing in the beatific vision, and that is that God will appear in the person of a young, handsome man in royal robes. You see what I'm saying? You can't even be a Muslim without believing in that one. That is one of the cardinal tenets of the belief of people who say they follow the Prophet Muhammad. So when they talk about this foolishness of us saying that God was a man, Prophet Muhammad said it first. Now, you know what I'm saying? Under this line of Islam that we call this community that we call Islam, this ummah. But I'm only saying that to say that the institutions are tools for us to civilize and to establish civilization. The institutions are not what is important. It is always the man and woman in whom the presence of God dwells. Because as Jesus said, man, when they said he was obeying the law because he did things contrary that they did not, he said, man was not created for the Sabbath. Sabbath was created for the man. And that's what we have to remember. This stuff was created for the man. We were not made for this thing. You see, and so it's not going to always look orthodox. It's not going to always look institutionalized. It's not going to always look black and white. There's a whole gray area in this thing when you're dealing with the original man. Why? Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us that exit. It's a whole lot unknown about this man.
Come on.
You know, so we had to be careful when we talking about these examples of brotherhood. And the only reason I'm saying careful is in our orientation of mind, that whenever you're looking at a black man, you're looking at God. So when the Quran says that when you save a man, it's as if you saved all men, it's because God doesn't have many souls. He only has one soul. And he put that in the original man. So when you save that man, it's how important is saving a brother is like saving God himself.
Come on, brother.
You know, and that's how valuable my people are to me, is that regardless to whatever disagreement I have with them, I always have learned to set back and to find my calm place, because the book that we had by Musashi, he had a phrase called in this book called fiducian, and that fiducian means the unwavering mind. And your mind becomes unwavering when you understand that you and your purpose is connected, and you and your brothers who are purposeful, you're all connected to that divine. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, Islam, brother, that was absolutely, praise be to Allah, beautiful, black man. I appreciate every word that came out your mouth, brother. And I'm just sitting here thanking Allah for the guidance, because, you know, your brother, I pray hard that Allah blesses us to have a beneficial experience in these moments that we're sharing, that we will leave. And everything that every brother is sharing is just that powerful. You know, Brother Tony says something that's very powerful, utilizing Malcolm. I remember the minister, I was in a laborers meeting, and the minister was just talking about even the Imam Muaddin Muhammad. And he raised a type of question to many of us who weren't there, because some of us take these issues on as if we were there. We are, as you said, we are hijacking an emotion that we weren't even alive, some of us. Or if even we were alive, we weren't present enough to even understand what was going on. You see, so we take on a position based on something that we learn from books and learn from the mouths of others and experiences. So here we run around using the same rhetoric, but not understanding it. See, the beauty of as we mature in this wisdom is that the key is to get into the mind of God. Allah is Maliki Yawm-Din.
Yes.
That is master of the day of requital.
Yeah.
So if you want to understand, sometimes he might do this over here that you don't understand, like Dul al-Qanan, Moses in search of knowledge with the wise man.
Come on.
You know, he judged every time that type of Moses, every time that wise man did something, he was judging him instead of listening and being patient with what the man was doing with him. He didn't consider the man's wisdom. And that's what happens even when we promote our ego, or our ego is inflated and we don't listen and we think we know more. And then the humility leaks out. So you don't see and you forget the agenda. And the agenda is what you pointed out, man. How can we save my brother? This is my brother. Or if it's not saving my brother, let me see what Allah is doing with we don't know. We don't know. We don't have all knowledge of everything. So humility allows for us to have a degree of patience. And I love what you said. You find your calm space, because we don't have to always agree, but we need to learn how to disagree intelligently with respect to our brother. And that way we give our brother an opportunity to live another day. When Malcolm was trying to find his way back, the enemy knew that. See,
yes.
And a lot of people don't know that, but the brother was trying to find his way back to his teacher. How could he have known everything that a man needed to know? And that was the first rendezvous. That's the first time we had Elijah Muhammad. That's the first time. That's the first time we experienced things like that. Nobody had experienced that before. This man, like you said, experiencing envy and jealousy. He was being tested in a way that he had never been tested before in his life.
Some of us can't handle small tests that is up on us right now. See, so when we start looking at these things from wisdom and intelligence, we stop judging so quickly based on how we personally feel about the situation, and we try to get into the mind of God. Brother Tony, I can't even follow you up because it was just so powerful, brother. You said it very.
Praise be to Allah.
And I just wanted to build on it because it's exactly how we think. You can't be a brother, man, if you don't have forgiveness in your heart. You can't be a brother if you don't have humility in your heart. You can't be a brother if you don't have patience in your heart. Because as my brother said earlier, I'm hurting. You don't know if a man is hurting. It's been days I'm hurting, bro. You don't know what a man is going through in that moment. You know, so you so quick to just run them down into the ground because that's how the enemy programmed us to think toward each other. We don't have mercy and we don't give each other the opportunity and the benefit of the doubt to heal. It may be one word that you say to your brother that pull him up out of the stupor. But if you rush to judgment, if you taking a shot now because you got opportunity, you got he weak, and now you want to take a shot, then you're not a brother, you know. And that's what we got to end. We have to stop that kind of violation, brother. We got to realize that we're all interdependent. I think Carlton had his hand up, man. This is a loaded conversation, and I'm so full, brother. And I'm just it's just a loaded conversation, brother Carlton, and then brother Hoyle.
Assalamu alaikum. I don't want to take too much time, but I love what brother Tony said. Everybody was saying this is very good conversation. I wanted to say, you know, since we're on Malcolm, Malcolm was a great example for us. You know what I mean? In terms of what happens when you don't carry yourself well after after things didn't work out the way you thought they would work out. You know what I'm saying? He was a great example of what we need to not be like. You know what I mean? Malcolm, as much as I knew him first before I knew Elijah, right? I knew him. Everybody, I kind of knew him first because he had the autobiography and all that. So what I'm trying to say is that Malcolm showed us what we don't need to be doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we don't need to be doing is we need to watch our ego when we know certain things, and we dealing with a leader. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We're dealing with a leader. Okay, yeah. We dealing with somebody that is loved by many. You know what I mean? Regardless of what you think about that person, our ego has to come into line with that fact. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying about? So while we may have been close to the leader in some way, or close to that thing, that light, some way, and we think that we have a better view of that light, and we want to shed that view on the people, we still have to humble ourselves and be careful on how we deal with that.
Preach. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Great point.
As much as, let me just get to the point. As much as I know there is fault in Farrakhan, I know there is good in him that surmounts anything that I could say that is fault in the man. You understand what I'm saying? So if there is fault in the man, I have to be able to, first of all, be able to put up a clean glass to whatever the dirty glass that he brought in a way, you know what I mean, that perpetuates the nation. You know what I mean? It's not about us. One of the things about the proper handling of people is that the proper way of handling people is that it says it's not about you, it's about the group. So we have to think about what we say when we're dealing with the group. You know what I mean? And we're dealing with the nation. You know what I mean? We're not dealing with a club. You know what I mean? We're not dealing with a fly-by-night brother or person when we're dealing with somebody coming out of the Nation of Islam. And I'm talking about not just Farrakhan, but each and every brother that's in the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. Okay. I hold you brothers in high regard. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I believe I'm a true FOI, and I hold you in true high regard. Every FOI, I hold you in high regard. And we have to be careful on how we handle an FOI in every which way. We are the brotherhood. You understand me?
That's
We the
right.
only ones that was talking about brotherhood in the first place. There is no organization that had an FOI that came out of America. You understand me? There is no FOI besides us. There is no brotherhood, manhood training that came out of anywhere except the Nation of Islam. You
Absolutely.
understand me? So that is a code that we have to respect and be careful on how we say things about our brother. Whether we, and that goes for every brother. Like I said, I was dealing with a brother and I said some things that I had to say to him as I was saying them, hey, look, I apologize. But it's heated. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying things to you that's getting you angry, and now you want to disregard me now. You know what I mean? Now, because we was brothers yesterday, now we brothers different today because there's things that I just said out of my mouth that hurt you, brother. And I meant to hurt you, right? But at the same time, my mind is like, dang, that's my brother. I hope he don't really know that I really meant to hurt him. But I felt that it needed to be said because you got out of place. We gotta check each other. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Don't feel like you're so high on your horse that you can't be checked. So I say to you, I say to every brother here, that as I go on my journey to try to do something in the community, check me, please. Please check me. Because I know that I'm going to do something that I shouldn't be, that is the egotistical, egocentric, way out of space. Check me. And that's, if I haven't learned anything else about Minister Farrakhan, is that's a humble man. You know what I mean? He'll check you, but he's very humble. He could have went off on a lot of these people that backstabbed him. L. Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. You know what I'm saying? But this brother was a humble brother, and we need to learn from that example.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That
Thank you.
example of humility that he showed.
Yes.
I try my best, sir, not to say anything derogative about a brother if I can help it. I see a lot of leadership like what's his name? That preacher that the guy out there in Georgia. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm crazy. But anyway, he's going off, trying to act like he's Malcolm. Ain't never been in an FOI class in his life. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm trying my best not to say nothing bad about him because I know I believe in my heart that at the bottom of all that nonsense he's talking, that he really means good by his people at the end of the day. And I believe that about all the brothers that are striving in this thing that we're doing here as black men. Assalamu.
Well, excellent. Thank you, beloved. Appreciate your feedback, brother, and your thought process. I will add this part, and then I'm gonna come to you, brother Hoyle, and then brother Tony, and then brother Lewis. You know that one of the things that our lessons teach us is that we should focus on the best part. The problem is that we have been programmed, in my view, to be in this type of perpetual mindset of looking for some flaw in our brother. That's not hard to find. It's not hard to find in any black man in the bounds of North America. You're going to find the flaw.
That's right.
You're going to find something that brother needs to work on. If you put any of us under a microscope, you're going to find something that we don't want the world maybe to know about, brother. See, so really it is our duty, when we become wise, to understand that there is a point and there's a place and there's a time to do exactly what you're talking about, brother Carlton. And I agree 100%. We got to check each other. We got to help each other be better brothers. That's 100% the way to go. But it's also equally important that we do what Jesus said. What did he say? He said, forgive 70 times, what is it? 70, in other words, look for the best in your brother, man, and promote. Right. And when we do that, you will find that will eliminate sometimes the thing that we might think is a flaw. We might help the brother self-correct if it's something that the brother needs to self-correct, but that's a crucial piece, brother, is that we learn how to look for the best. We got this habit
And we got this bad habit. And I called it a bad habit. I'm not concerned about your flaw, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep it 100, I'm not. Unless it's creating a nuisance on and near our post, or it's hurting you in a way, and I'm in proximity and I've been exposed to it. Yes, I have a duty to pull you to the side, talk to you as my brother, and offer you whatever Allah gives me a wisdom or whatever we got to do together to work through it. I'm with you as your brother. I'm not there as your Lord. I'm not there as your commander. I'm there as your brother to help us do the thing that we need to work through. And notice I said we, because I've been exposed to it. Now it's my responsibility as your brother to work with you through the problem. But that's the spirit that we have to come to each other in. And when we come to each other in the right spirit, then we're looking for the best, man. I'm telling you. And until we get there, we're never going to be able, because you got to understand, it's called the spirit of offense, the spirit of accuso. There's no way we can ever get out and heal as a people with that kind of spirit. Brother Hoyle, and then Brother Tony, and then Brother Lewis. And let's try to move through quickly, brothers.
Assalamu alaikum, soldiers.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Beautiful conversation, brother. Beautiful conversation. And you hit the nail on the head, brother Mike. Talking about, look for the best in our brothers. We, as black men, so competitive, and this devil works day and night to keep us at odds with one another. Male, female, male against male. Just keep up what confusion. But it was an article, brother, and I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking, boy, this is so powerful. We got the leader, we got the man in our midst, and happy 93rd birthday anniversary to our minister, God's man in our midst, May 11th. And he had an article that's right on time, brother. I'm going to come with God's word every time, because it's beautiful, so beautiful. And it comes from his lecture called The Power of God's Word to Loosen Satan's Grip on Your Life. And it's just a little small, I ain't going to be but a minute.
Oh, go ahead.
Said, and it hits right what you were saying, brother Mike. He said, the God, in one of these nights, when I really couldn't sleep well, he told me to talk to you about the level of conversation. If you're a savage, it reflects in your conversation. If you don't like being around Muslims who are trying to live the teachings, and you got the set of savages you want to hang with, then your talk on social media reflects who you're becoming. He says, sisters in the MGT, never show yourself to the world as you do sometimes. You want a man? I don't blame you. And glad you don't want another woman, he said. But some of us have gone that way too. Your level of conversation helps you with the strength to win. What do you talk about? Worse, who are you talking about and why? See if your conversations are negative. You don't like this one, so you get on the phone. Did you see what that so-and-so said? And you may use a few nice words to talk about your sister or somebody. That sick level of expression. See our words. When the minister says words, I spoke a lot of words, but the words that I spoke have a little level of energy in that word. That's why he says words matter. And I can speak that word, and in 8 minutes and 20 seconds, you're up. I want to hear more. The electrical energy in that word, Brother Michael, of Allah is the highest energy of any word. So if you don't read his word, and if you don't converse about his words, then your conversations bring you down instead of bringing you up. And I want you to feed on your minds better food. And then he said, and I'll be through in a minute. Now the rappers are rapping, and you like the beat, but on that beat is a dirty, nasty word. And when you listen to that and dance to that, you look at your emotions. I saw a deaf girl doing Rihanna's word, and that girl was so into the word, every action that she took had meaning. She studied Rihanna's word, and then in delivering that word through the medium of sign language, she became the star of the night. And so if you transform your speech pattern and just try it out, a man gave us a body of knowledge. But so, it's what we say, and we can lift our brothers through our conversation, Brother Mike, and just like the brother was saying, and you were saying earlier, you don't know what the brothers are going through. So we all, we're talking to God. Every brother on here is a God. Every brother on here is put on this planet to do something, and you're God. If I mistreat that brother, I'm mistreating God. So I'm careful now as I, as a brother, as I get each day, and how I treat my brothers and sisters, and and God has given me discernment. If people are not, for me or talking about me, I just move myself away from that bad energy and go and do the work. And Allah, He backs me every time. So a lot of times we don't have to, when we choose our battles, when we fast and become strong, God will he'll put your enemies in front of you, and he'll show you who's for you, who's for you not. And he'll protect you. So we have to be around the right people, be around the right people who are seeking God. So this is a beautiful conversation. And like I said, brothers, we just have to lift each other because we're the worst hated target. Everything you see when you look at that American flag, I'm going to say this today, but we got to go. They tried to kill this brother named Tony Carruthers, brother Mike, brother Lewis. He'd been on death row, and I had to tell some brothers. They tried to stick the needle in him, and they had a meeting. He tried to meet with Mr. Farrakhan, and Allah protected him. They couldn't find the needle to kill him, but it was a gruesome murder. It was a drug dealing murder, but he didn't. He said he didn't do it. They found evidence that he didn't do it. So anytime a black man is even mentioned around a murder, around drug dealing, he's presumed what? Guilty. That's in it. And there's a lot of black men that died. Tukey Williams, and they're proven innocent all through prisons, all through America, and they haven't done it. They've been framed. And I say this, and brothers tell every brother, when a righteous person bring you news, look carefully. And anytime we're dealing with anything, it's got to be investigated if it's a black man. I don't give a damn what it is. Black man or black woman, it's got to be investigated. They said anything about it, whether they're right or wrong, investigate it. Because hell, we black people in America, it's got to be investigated. You just can't assume that brother did. Yeah. It's got to be investigated. So, we conspiracy. We live in goddamn America. Excuse my language. This is a damnable country, and I'm sick of it. Beautiful show, brother.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting emotional.
Praise
me. It's a beautiful show, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, excellent. Thank you, Brother Will, and thank you for reading. Man, I always appreciate when you come on and read something, brother. And please continue to do that because it's appreciated. It brings.
Brother, I appreciate you for allowing me to come on the show and the brothers. And I'm so and the powerful brothers on the show, Brother Lewis, Brother John, Brother Tony, all the other brothers. I can't remember all their names, but all of y'all are powerful. So I love all you brothers, and inshallah we're doing something. And I pray that we, hey, we're doing it. As long as we stay on God's word.
We focus, brother. We're gonna hold the line, and we're gonna stay on point with the help of Allah. Brother Tony.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brother Will.
Yes, sir. I thought Lewis and hand was up before mine, and I know Fatir had his hand up too.
That's fine. Go ahead, brother. If you want to yield, we'll come right back to you then. Brother Lewis, you want to go?
Yeah. Hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Well, I want to share something from the book, We Must First Be Brothers. And by the way, if you hadn't got a copy of the book, I want to make sure everybody gets a copy of the book because there are principles in the book that are designed to help us with our brotherhood. And also, I want to thank Brother Hoyle for coming on and reading from the Final Call newspaper because this is very important. The Final Call newspaper is a tool that pricks our consciousness and brings us into a new way of thinking. And so I would ask everyone, whether you be a Muslim or not, subscribe to the Final Call newspaper. I'm going to read point number 59 in the book, We Must First Be Brothers. Point number 59, compete in acts of kindness. In brotherhood, it's beneficial to compete in acts of kindness toward each other and to others. By doing so, it builds a strong sense of camaraderie and encourages selflessness. Each brother should strive to outdo the other brother in performing good deeds, which leads to greater achievements and unity within the brotherhood. Hebrews 10, verse 24. and let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds.
Praise
So I
God.
want to level set us a little bit, and I could take a little level setting myself.
That's all right. Go ahead.
You don't talk and say Muhammad, peace be upon him, had faults. You don't say we know Jesus of 2,000 years ago had faults, or we know Abraham had faults.
Come on, man.
There's a better methodology. And the reason it's not that they are without faults, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Yes.
but he said Allah blots out their faults
Yes.
and purifies them and raises them up as our teachers.
Go ahead, man.
So I say that when it comes to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I wasn't conscious and I wasn't alive until he stood up. So Allah has something for him for his sacrifice. So our language has to be upgraded, if you will. Everybody else has a teacher that they respect. We might not like their teacher, but they love their teacher. You remember when that man wrote that anti-book about Muhammad, peace be upon him? I think his name was Salman Rushdie, or you remember that, Brother Tony?
Yes, sir.
Well, Ayatollah Khomeini, they what is it called? Fatwa?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're the fatwa. I told him, yeah.
And if anybody would have found that man, they would have deleted him. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes.
Because they understand that you can't become a nation or a people without a man. See, I'm not trying to say this to be disrespectful, but I'm trying to help us to just think about this. There are Black women who will say, I don't need a man. The minute that comes out their mouth, they put themselves in a vulnerable position because a man don't respect nothing but a man. If everybody else has prophets and messengers, and we don't have a man who we believe that Allah raised up for us, that was perfected enough to raise a wretch and an ignorant and degenerate group like us up. See, until we get a man, we can't become a nation, beloved. And this is why we got to take a deeper look at ego, because it causes us to compete even with our benefactor. Now, we started out today talking about how we should recognize the gift that Allah put in others for us. And we got to get over the gift wrapping. See, if I got hangups with the way Brother Michael's gift is wrapped in his, then that can cause me to overlook something in the brother that Allah gave to me, but through him. And that's a very wise God that put a gift in Brother Tony. Now, I'm the benefactor to what Brother Tony is saying.
Yes.
Probably more so than he, because he already got it, but I can take what he's got if I receive it properly and grow it. I'm not supposed to hear it with the mindset of saying, I'm showing you this because it's something in us that makes us, even when we don't try to do it, compete. Yes. I'm listening to it from the point of view, we have to listen to each other from the point of view of what can I gain? What is he trying to give me? Rather than he didn't say it perfect. You understand what I'm saying? And it starts out with a man. Now, I was into a conversation with a Black nationalist, and he had a lot to say about different teachers and different people. And I asked him one question. what do y'all have that's sacred?
Mm.
And if you say it's the ancestors, show me their book. So I can measure up to the standard of what the book says. See? He had nothing sacred. And do you know among, I don't call them the N word, but the need to grows. The need to grows don't have nothing sacred. And it's only when we start making each other sacred. See, like your wife, you're not supposed to call your wife that B got problems. They would think it was a group that called themselves that. You should never call your wife or any black woman a B word.
That's
If we
right.
say that, we shouldn't say it because it changes the frequency and the vibration of how we look at black women. We should never call each other the N word and MFers and so and so's. This is stuff we got to remove the ego, and we can't justify it. Don't try to justify it. Say I'm wrong. I messed up. I'm going to improve. And then last but certainly not least, we have to have somebody that we deem a holy father enough to correct us. And we don't need to shoot back and say, yeah, but no. We don't do that with the teacher. He corrects me. I don't correct Farrakhan. And part of it is, one, I'm not worthy. But two, it is, we got to stop tearing down things that are sacred, and we got to have something sacred in our community. You don't hear no Catholic talking about how the Pope got faults. You might say it if you're not a Catholic, but even the black Catholics, they think of the Pope as sacred. What do we collectively as black men see as sacred? Where we take off our shoes when we stand on top of his name, because the ground we're standing on is holy ground.
Each brother.
It's not holy
Go
because
ahead,
the
man.
individual is holy. It's holy because God is with that man.
Come on, brother.
And if God is with the man, who are we to say
Come on.
anything?
Come on.
Anything about our benefactors' so-called faults? This is not the way that we should be. And it's and this is why we must first be brothers. Because it's helping to level set how we look. I don't allow nobody to talk about my biological father. That man has gone through a lot to try to get me wherever it is that I'm going. See? And too often we wait until that man is dead and gone. And we let others who are not even beneficial to us spit on our fathers. And that's why that Malachi in the Bible, the 4th chapter, the 4th to the 6th verse is so powerful. Behold, before the great and dreadful day of the Lord, I will send you Elijah. And Elijah's going to turn the hearts of the children back to their fathers, not parents.
Teach
fathers. Lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. See, we are a cursed people until we can connect properly with our fathers.
Teach.
Our fathers.
Teach.
Who art in heaven. See, they with the ancestors, but we got a father now.
Right.
And Farrakhan has become our father. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his father. And these fathers are what we need in order to rebuild our nation. So we can't afford to allow anybody to speak ill of our fathers. And then you know what? You'll never be a strong family in a household where the women can say, I don't need a man, and can teach the children who are not fully developed against the father, irregardless to what you think he is. No, we gotta stop this, brothers. I mean, we really gotta, because every black man, whether he's a black man who has gone to prison or gone to Princeton,
Come on,
has a certain level of sacrifice and crucifixion that he had to go through in order to build a real family. And that's what this is all about. This is not a brotherhood chauvinistic meeting. This is something that's designed to make us better men for the benefit of women and children.
Yes.
And so
Brother Lewis.
we gotta get away from this
Yes.
talking about some
I
false.
100% approve
Yeah.
and agree and stand on
Mm-hmm.
everything that you just said, brother, because you're right. And no disrespect,
Yes.
brother, but you're 100% right. There is, and respectfully, there is no cleaner glass.
Come on, man.
So hold up. Who the
This
hell?
last point, Mike.
Yeah.
Look at what Elijah said. He said, "A man that teach like
Like that
Farrakhan
don't
ain't got no sins."
Yes.
Now the question, it ain't what he said. That's true. But why did he tell us that?
Yes.
It's something in us, and part of it is the competitive nature, but it's something in us that makes us want to give a criticism of our fathers. And we better look at that real carefully, because I'm going to tell you right now, until you meet a man, you'll never be one.
Come on.
And the Quran says, is one of the things that one of the elements of the thinking of the people is that they start to judge their teacher. This is all ego. We still on the same subject. You start to judge a teacher and say, well, he eats and drinks and goes into the market like me. You see, you start to confuse his humanity and you mistake his divinity. See, the thing about it is Allah chose the man, just like he chose all of us. But if Allah chose him, it's the same thing we're saying about Iblis. When Allah says in the Quran, bow to that which I made of black mud and fashion. And he told all of the angels to bow down. And the Quran said all bowed except Iblis. So whatever is in us that will cause us not to bow, we have to check. We have to level set that.
Come on, man.
We have to study what is that. You see, because if Allah gave the instruction, that's the consideration. If it were not for a Farrakhan, there would not be a discussion that we're having on this call right now. See, and that's just respect. It don't mean that we're placing him before God. It don't mean we're placing him before Allah. We know Allah is the author of everything, but Allah works through brothers.
Come on now.
Same thing when I'm on this call listening to you, brothers, I'm listening for Allah. I'm not listening for your status. How if you didn't spoke to tens of thousands of ones. I'm listening for God. But a man that has done the magnitude of work, Brother Lewis, you hit it right on the head.
Come on, man.
We got to learn how to honor our leaders in a way that we don't fall victim to. We want to start nipping and chipping and pulling away from. I don't give a damn what the man does. I'm not concerned about that. I got uncles that were crackheads, and you ain't gonna tell me not to love them. I don't give a damn. I hate to mention that they was a crack addict because I don't think of them like that. I think of them for the good that they poured out into me, and that's more. And I ain't none of them poured out into me what the minister has poured out into us. I agree. I think that the reason that we lift in that is because it comes across as a seed. You know, it's like dropping a seed in a sense, even if it's not intended. I don't think our brother is intentionally doing something like that. But the point is why we're bringing it up, because it goes right in alignment with what we're saying. That when you are speaking of an honored servant of God, we say in Islam, when you speak of Prophet Muhammad, you say, Sallallahu wasalam. You send out a prayer. Because just like we go through things, and I think one of us, and I told about how I've been through things, we can't even begin to imagine the level of pressure that a man like Farrakhan or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what they have went through to give birth, to give life to Black people. We don't have that scope. So when it says peace be upon Muhammad, it is the respect and the admiration and gratitude, not just to the servant, it is gratitude to Allah, because Allah used them. Allah is in charge. Allah is the mouthpiece of the wisdom that the minister has been using. That's not his own wisdom. He tell you straight up. I was listening to a lecture. Somebody sent me a clip where I saw it today, where the minister said, I'm tired of y'all calling me the leader. He said, the leader is the most honorable Elijah.
That's right.
He said, I am the representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So a man that's showing that kind of humility, representing the man that we love,
I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but I wouldn't know him. Were not for Farrakhan. I
That's
love
right.
Far Muhammad. I wouldn't know him. Wasn't for Farrakhan. See, so we have to. We got to stop this. It's like we got to look for some little flaw. You know, he ain't. Well, I don't give a damn.
It ain't there.
It ain't right. What are we in respectfully? Respectfully, where are what yardstick do we have to measure? Because we wouldn't even have a yardstick to measure and judge had it not been given to us by the very man we judging. So it's just like the minister Ted one time, and I was in a labor's meeting, said, the man that wakes you up, the person that wakes you up is the first person you judge. So that's what we have to stop doing. We got to break this cycle. This is a vicious cycle, and it's tied to the male ego, respectfully. It's not necessary. Just honor your mother and your father, that your days may be lengthened in the land that the Lord thy God giveth. That's where we at. Brother Fatir, and then Brother Tony.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Well, Islam.
It's such a beautiful topic, brotherhood, and I salute you, Brother Michael, for coming up with the book of brotherhood.
Praise be to Allah.
And the truest brotherhood I've been a part of, and I have to be honest and speak the truth regardless of the circumstances, is being an unknown vice lord. And that's real talk. Even after joining the nation after the vice lord, the truest brotherhood that I've been with is the unknown vice lords by Willie Lord, Auther. And I learned that Islam, he introduced me to Islam at the age of 12 years of age. And we went to Mosque Maryam, and he told me and my brother Yahweh Have, they call him Boo, and me and Leonard Overstreet. He said, Islam to us, brothers, is I, self, Lord and Master. He was trying to tell us that be your own master. And a lot of us brothers here in this wilderness of North America, we play four mental games. And I don't care if you're a saint, I don't care who you are. If you're not Master Farad Muhammad, we focus on the facts, and we focus on the facts and not on our feelings. And so we need to focus on our feelings rather than on the facts. And so I hear, as Brother Tony said, in the belly of the beast where I came from, when I was in the shoes of my ancestors. See, I only compare myself to myself. I would never invite Iblis and compare myself with my brother, because I'm inviting Iblis into me to make myself look at my brother with an evil eye. So we should never compare ourselves with others. And see, that's another mistake that most saints have made and us made. First King says, take my life. I am no better than my ancestor. Who said that in First Kings? You see what I'm saying? And so we need to stop. We don't take false blame. We need to stop. We don't exaggerate the negative. We need to take care of our physical needs and follow the example of what the life-giving teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad really mean to us. It gives us life, and we've been playing with it. We've been playing with it, and only way you're going to get your absolute original power to show brotherhood is, it's not that lip professing stuff. I want for my brother what I want for myself. But when a brother needs something, then you go back and backslide to another brother. And, oh man, that brother was begging me for some money. But then you weren't no real brother for me. And any brother, I don't care if you're in what type of position you in, you a brother, you can be approached. It's just how you come to that brother. You can ask Brother Leonard Overstreet, my 5-star general elite. He'll vouch for me. I was a 5-star elite as an unknown vice lord for Allah, for my brothers in the streets. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said his best soldiers are in the streets. And most of his enemies are in the honeycomb of hypocrites, or in the mosques and the synagogues, or in the temples. The real brotherhoods are in the streets, and you starting to see it. And the brothers are in the streets. They seeing the fakeness in these so-called these temples, and the real temple is you and I, brother. And so we have to make us and you and I feel the self-accusing spirit regardless of the circumstances, and pull your brother aside, and you got to give him real talk, even if it hurt his feelings.
Real talk. Thank you so much, brother Fatir. Appreciate that, brother. And I 100% totally feel your vibration and feel where you're coming from, because it is a strong brotherhood in the streets. We can't deny that, you know. And some of our brothers that will come up right up out the street will help strengthen brotherhood all around this globe, so we can respect
That's right.
that, you know. And I honor that and agree with that. You know, I got brothers that you come from that same process, you know, that are still my brothers, you know, and we're gonna love each other forever. My father and stepfather, if you call it, I guess you would call it, like, you know, was the same thing, brother. I got brotherhood from him, not a day. I got lessons and wisdom from brothers, you know. So we got love there, 100%. We don't ever have to cut that tie of brotherhood and the benefits that we gain from that. Wherever we build from, we build from. I want to also just add another thought, brother. Again, this is a conversation about building, you know, and it's about building the principle, brother. But we identifying with this ego and how it infects our psyche. And we have to, brothers, go to war with it. But we have to study ourselves. And I mentioned earlier, and I don't know how many caught it, but I think it's important to just bring it up again. We have to learn how to take a look at ourselves. Allah has an attribute called al-basir, which is one who sees all. But one of the most beautiful aspects of this attribute is that he allows us to see within ourselves. We need to learn how to turn that eye that we have back on ourselves.
That's
And
right.
this is why Jesus
Yes,
said
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Good teaching.
Why you sit up here trying to remove the speck from thy brother's eye
Go
when you
ahead,
got
man.
in thine own?
Yes.
You know what I'm
Good
saying? So when I think of any brother in any circumstances, I'm always thinking about where I am first and asking, oh Allah, please forgive me. Oh Allah, forgive me for being hungry. Oh Allah, before I think anything about another brother, I think about myself. I can ride
That's
up the
right.
street and see a man with no legs, and I start praying to Allah for forgiveness for being ungrateful, because I realize that I got two of them and I ain't using them to the maximum. You see what I'm saying? We have to turn the eye back on ourselves. Take a look at you. Study you. That damn it. And then listen, when you want to start talking about a great man, try to put yourself in the shoes of the great man and see how you may have handled that pressure. We can barely handle the pressure of our household and
That part.
our woman. We can
That
barely
part.
handle our children, brother. To handle a whole nation of need to grows. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Go
To
ahead.
handle a whole
Go
globe
ahead,
when
Brother Mark.
there's a
Yes, sir.
whole 100-man task force on you, brother, day and night watching you. If you fart, they got it recorded, brother. You got to understand the kind of scrutiny. God damn it. See, we got to get to a point where we say, I stand with you, bro. I stand because I understand what you're up against. I rock with you because
That's
I know
right.
you're up against
Yes,
black.
sir. That
There
part.
you
Yes,
go,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
Because I realize the sacrifice that you took. Hell, if you do make a quote unquote, I don't give a damn. I got you anyway. I act like the woman. I cover down and cover like the woman's supposed to cover the nakedness of the man. So I'm just saying, no matter what it is, that's the beauty of brotherhood. You know, I had a brother one time. He was a drug addict. He came to me, man. He was down. He had been trying to clean up. He was down, 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 down. You know, because he had slipped up. I said, bruh. And I handled him just like that. I said, bruh, go in there and wash up, man. Let's get in here and make this prayer, brother. And let's keep it
Yes,
moving.
sir. Allah Akbar. Yes,
You
sir.
know what I'm saying, brother? That brother looked at me, man. It was like the weight of the world lifted up off that brother's shoulder, man. Because he realized that he was beating himself down already. He needed a brother to help him build himself back up. That's what we have
Yes.
to learn
Go
how to
ahead.
do. The
Yes.
black man is hurting, brother. Shit, we hurting out here. What the hell we need to be beat? Look for the best part. That's what's in the lesson. And you know, we scream out the Savior, but we ain't been in the company of the Savior like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was. You see, and so what does he desire? He's a brother. You understand what I'm saying? He rode around in that little coupe with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Honorable Elijah Muhammad code. He said, come closer, Elijah. Put his arm around Honorable Elijah Muhammad and showed him that love to keep him warm. And it ain't no funny stuff. You see, listen, what I'm trying to get at is when we call out the God, understand that the God ain't us. He ain't
Come on.
cheap like us, brother.
Go
You
ahead,
know,
man.
small-minded like us, brother. You see what I'm saying? Do you not think that the God ain't seen the work that a brother like Farrakhan has done, and he's not smiling at that work? Come on, bro. We out here screaming Master Fard Muhammad and the black man is God. You see, come on, bro. How could we even be talking like that, bro? If it was not for the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan and the great work. I love Elijah Muhammad, brother. Listen what I'm trying to tell you, man. Listen, bro. Love him. I love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Why? Because of what they have done, the service. They've shown me how to love. I love black people. That's why we on this call, bro. This is about love, man. That's what this is about. This ain't about ain't nobody on here trying to showboat. Ain't nobody on here trying to lead nobody. We on here trying to strike up a conversation, brother, to change the algorithm of the world we live in. Because the black man has got a bullseye on his damn back. And I'm tired of seeing us getting shot down every goddamn day. I'm tired of seeing us hating on each other every day. I want to see us stand up and unite because I'm committed to that. That's my life force, bro. I can't be no black man and not be committed to my brother get up out the mud, man.
That's right.
Shit, that's what I'm here for, bro. And that's what that's what my life is about. See, so I'm committed. And that's what I'm trying to connect with other brothers who are committed to the same thing. And then we unite forces and we keep building and we change the algorithm. We change the damn conversation. Because goddamn it, we ain't going out like no punks. I just don't know how I want to let loose, but he's
all right, bro.
rattling your brother's tongue.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
In my mouth, but I want to talk, but I know I'm on the internet, but I want to say it, how I need to say it to men, but brothers, we got to stand up. We got to stop this punctified stuff, man, and get this feminine energy up out of us and be brothers, man. Be brother. That's what we here for, man. I came in the Nation of Islam. I'm looking for brotherhood, man. That's what I'm looking for. Shit.
We all we got.
That's all I want. Give me some brotherhood. That's what listen, man. The black man, when you go at other cultures, I was doing a photography shoot amongst some Arabs, Muslims, and at the graduation. And while I'm there, I look at all of the men, they sitting off in the corner, the women doing their thing, moving around, but the men off in the corner. I said, that's a reason for that. See, it's a reason because brotherhood is essential. It is an essential need for a man to have a brother. You see? And so we have to have a safe space for us to be able to be brothers, man. That's what I long for since I've been in the teachings on Elijah Muhammad, brother, is brotherhood. I just want to be around some brothers that are solid. When I met Brother Tony, solid brother, we've been brothers ever since. We done rolled this thing. We done rolled this thing to the wheels, then rolled off this joint. And we still rolling right now. You see what I'm saying? Brother Lewis, you see brotherhood, building, rolling it to the wheel, and we're gonna roll it until the wheels roll off. See, I don't even have a concern about whether or not it's gonna work. I know that if a problem come up, I'm gonna get on that phone, we're gonna chop it up. I know Brother Tony will call me. I ain't worried about all that feminine bullshit-ish. I know we work it out as brothers because we got that kind of maturity and emotional intelligence. That's the time we in, man. And so now we taking this on the road, bro. We out here talking to our people. We need to exemplify this for other men around this country. We have to be brothers. That's the instruction on Elijah Muhammad. You see, praise be to Allah, brother. I'm holding back my tongue as much as I can to talk respectfully. Brother Tony.
Praise be to Allah, brother. You changed the whole trajectory of my thought, and that usually don't happen, but only in the conversations with me and you, because we are having for hours, you understand?
Yes, sir.
But praise be to Allah. But one of the things that I did want to say was this, because Brother Lewis, he made a stellar point, and it brought me to one of the things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad alluded to. And I'm just going to paraphrase, because what the guy brought us, he didn't bring us an invention. This is not made up. These are not fabrications. These are not lies. He gave us a conversion of experience and knowledge that he said he had studied for 42 years on what he was going to teach us, but they were all facts. He taught us about Yaqub's history. He taught us about the exile of the red man. for practicing Hinduism and worshiping idols and he taught us even about the God and the deportation of the moon. These were not flattering aspects of our history. So the question is, why is he teaching these things to us? Because these are not inventions, these are actual facts. Because when you understand, if you want to understand the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as he said, you got to understand me from Scripture. If you understand and overlap Hebrews 5 with the minister, when it said that he had to suffer many things before he learned obedience. You see, so when you look at his life experience, I see we put Jesus in a theological framework and put him so far out in space you can't reach him. But the minister gave us his life as a book. And when we study that, we can make the actual connections to the God as an operational force in the human being. Because as Brother Mike mentioned, Iblis not wanting to, or Satan not wanting to bow down to the man who was created out of black mud, it was because of his humble state. And that's why you don't want to bow down. People didn't want to bow down to the minister. Minister himself said he was arrogant. He made a lot of mistakes, but he had to go through that in order to get to that part of divinity. And that is an example for us.
Yes.
And we can't deny that, because as the book of Hebrews says, it said there are some hard truths that have to be spoken about this man who did not take honor on himself, but was called, as Brother Lewis said, of God, as Aaron. It even says that in Hebrews 5. So he was called of God, qualified through the things that he suffered. And then the Father said, because of what you suffered, now this day have you become my son. See the anointing? See, we have to go through that process in order to get that anointing, but we have to have that example. And so, yes, there's some unflattering things about the minister's life, but what did Brother Lewis just point out so beautifully, that Allah says in the Holy Quran that he would blot those things out. Why? Because the good that is going to be done for other people who have to go through that framework of mind, it is just like somebody taking a test and giving you all of the answers for, but you don't see them having to scrabble through the formulas to get it correct and all the errors that they made. You don't focus on all the errors that they made. You focus on the perfect or the exactness of the formula. I got an exact formula now, but I cannot deny that there was some trials, that there was some sufferings. Why? Because I have to give my man's life the value it so richly deserves. And the only way you can give it the value that it so richly deserves, you have to be able to measure that life. Because if we take him and we put him in the category that they put Jesus in, and we don't see no struggle in Jesus's life, then you'll have people who will just put him on a shelf as an idol and say, well, I can't reach that. But the minister is showing us every day, step by step, study, prayer, practice, a practical application. You can do this. You see what I'm saying? And so what did the book talk about? That his life was a key for salvation. So not some of the answer, but the entire answer. His life is the key to salvation. And if his life is the key to salvation, we need every aspect of his life, from when he set us down in the men class and talked about his domestic life, some of the ups, some of the downs. Why? Because he said, you're going to have to go through this. He looked us in the eye and said, y'all going to have to go through this. But because I went through this, I can show you how to do it right. So now, we might not be that generation. Maybe we are. Maybe that generation will come. But we have the examples now. And because we have the examples now, we thank Allah for such an extraordinary life, because now that extraordinary life that he lived is the gift that we receive. That is the crown that we receive, because now we got the right now to just step into that.
That's right.
We don't have to say we go through that. The man already fought the fight.
Absolutely.
The man already won the battle. The man already took the test. You don't have to, we don't have to go through that no more. He's saying now, if you just put down like he said, in hard trials is necessary to establish the truth. Can you become one with me as I strive to become one with him? Talking about the Father, talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Then if you can, then what did he say? Put your foot down. He said, brother, the messenger told me, where you see me go, you go. Put your foot down right behind mine. Why? Because you don't have to carve the path no more. See, the tip of the spear already went before us. We just follow him behind as the shaft.
That's right.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We already got the path established that this is the acceptable and good work of God. He's already said this is the acceptable and good work of God. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Beautiful, brother.
Beautiful, brother.
And that's why a man is, the book say, by one man sin into the world and all men have sinned, but also by one man shall all men be freed and brought into a salvation. So we're looking at that. We're in that season and we're a part of that. That's the beautiful thing about this also, brothers. The things that we go through will also become lessons. You know, some of us will become real disciples of the Christ. You see, as we continuously develop, because we have developed maybe along the line sufficiently enough, we carry certain disciplinary practices that are exemplary. You know, so we all are going through things now that you said that so beautifully, brother Tony. You know, but the man that God uses lays out a roadmap, and that roadmap is a path for us to be able to go and say, oh, I know what this is. I know what this is. I can reference something to help me to work through this problem right here. Elijah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
I didn't really have too much to say, but it's honestly amazing that you just called my name at that time, because I had a thought like right before you called my name. But what I want to say is first, I'll just say that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which we already stated in this conversation, is the greatest example that, I mean, we could ever ask for. Like, you know, I got done playing college football about 4 years ago, and I started my journey back to Islam while I was playing college football, just getting out of living, you know, an adulterous-like lifestyle, you know, just in college, man, just loose, doing whatever. And I started watching the lectures, man, and I just, you know, every day I think to myself, you know, I grew up with my uncle, grew up in Waterloo, Iowa, a small city of like 70,000 people. And I sent a text to my family group chat probably like 2 years ago. And I do a lot of thinking to myself. I spend a lot of time by myself. And one day I was just thinking to myself, like, man, like in this small little town full of all these white folks with a little bit of black folks, God decided to give us the truth. He allowed my uncle to be a minister and my dad to be a captain. That wasn't an accident.
Come
That
on.
wasn't an accident. I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't, you know, I just don't believe that just slipped up and happened for no reason. And I just had all these examples growing up for just some reason. You feel me? So I just want to say that I believe that Farrakhan is the example of what we all are to our own communities. So to our own communities back home, we're all, you know, if we're doing the right things and we're leading the right way, we're all mini Farrakhans, if that
right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That's right.
I spoke today with a couple of my friends that I hadn't spoken to in a little while. You know, we tap in, you know, you go to college with homies and then y'all get into life and you don't talk often, but when y'all do talk, it's always a good conversation. And man, my homies, they be watching me, man. I post a lot of the minister. I talk on my social media. I post teachings. I work out. And I can just see that, you know, a lot of the friends that I used to hang out with when I was, you know, just living a loose lifestyle are seeing my transformation, and getting to them. It's slowly getting to them, and it's helping change their lives, man. One of my homies that I wouldn't say I would have never thought would have been influenced by the Islam that I portray. Man, he told me today that you know, he's just been changing his life, and he's been going on walks in the morning. Uh, he said, you know that man that you be posting on your story, bro. I've been listening to him early in the morning, bro. I take like 1,500 steps, and I just been like searching him up on YouTube, bro. Just listening to him because I feel like after football, bro, I lost my juice and I don't got that ambition, bro. But he's basically telling me, bro, I'm seeing you and seeing what you're doing, and I realize, okay, you listening to this or you following this guy, so let me see what's going on there. And I could just hear in his conversation that he's, you know, we used to live an adulterous lifestyle together, man. Just, you know, rock, doing whatever, you know, with women and just living loosely, acting like nothing was going to affect us, but it, you know, it ended up did. But now we want to change, man. And I see that a lot of my friends, when they call me, man, they're seeking, and it's nothing to do with me because this nothing and none of this is from me because, man, I was being a nigga. You know, I was out here being a nigga, but I am starting to surrender to these teachings because I'm starting to realize that the time is now really to live in the right way because I don't know. I told my uncle this a while ago that it's been on my spirit that something big is going to happen really soon. And I don't know if that big thing is going to be something good, us having to go to war. I just know something is coming. So I just feel it in my spirit to start living right now. And I'm giving an impression to my friends, and I'm slowly creating a community with the homies and the brothers that I have, and just trying to lead them to the right path, man. Because I feel like the angels are really taking account on what we're doing right now.
Absolutely,
Like they obviously, you know, they've been taking account our entire lives, but I feel like what we do right now is most important. Like in this time right now, like we are born in a time of big change, like the most change that has happened in the recent 1,000 years. Like a lot is about to change. So I never had anything bad to say about Farrakhan. Like and like the nation and anything, like I don't look at it for its flaws and whatever I see. I want to pull the good because, man, I seen black people struggle so bad. I lived in Houston for a year. I seen the hood. I seen it was so like I seen it so bad. Like I deal with kids back home. I work with kids back home. Like I got some kids that I'm working with. They at home situation is so bad. And I know the one thing that can save them is these teachings. It will wake them up and help them to realize why they're here so they can save themselves. And one thing that I've been telling the kids recently is that God in himself, just knowing that name God won't do anything for you. He gave you an example and he gave you a word to follow to save yourself. Just saying that I know God in itself, that ain't gonna do nothing for you. You're gonna stay at home, you're gonna be broken in spirit, broken in your pocket, and broken mentally until you use his word to activate yourself and save yourself. So
praise be to Allah.
I just
Beautiful.
want to say,
Oh,
man,
God. Beautiful, Lord God.
I am blessed to have been raised. I'm blessed to being raised in the Nation of Islam and being raised in the truth in a small little town, Waterloo, Iowa, full of nothing, but God put the truth. He planted the truth there for a reason.
Praise be to Allah.
And I just believe I'm walking into my purpose. And I think what will get us there is to free our minds, man. We have to free our minds so we can really, really realize why we're here. Because I don't want to live a long life and get to the end of this thing and then don't really know why I was here. So I got to figure that out now, and I believe that the teachings of the Nation of Islam is what's going to help me do that.
Keep pushing,
I have
nephew.
to surrender. I have to give up all these ways of the world. I have to surrender.
Yes,
and
sir.
That's the journey I'm on now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Keep pushing, nephew, and I'm
Keep
proud of
pushing.
you, man. And we proud of you, brother. And keep
sir.
striving, black man, because you speaking, you on the right path, brother. It's a
Yes,
path,
sir.
brother. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
not a short journey. It's a long journey sometime, but we getting there, brother. Keep grinding.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right. That was
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Going at it. We appreciate it. Every brother on this call can feel what you're saying.
And one more thing I want to say is I'm on a trip right now. I'm in Washington, a little bit outside of Seattle, and I'm staring at mountains right now, and it's changing my mind. So the last thing I want to say and is just travel, man. Go and see something different. I feel like a lot of our people are just so stuck in the environment that we in. We don't get to see much to be able to impregnate our minds to be able to think a little bit different, man. So just travel and see different things.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, beloved. So we
Yes,
getting ready to
sir.
wrap up, brother. We getting ready to wrap up. I want to hear from I think brother. I don't know if brother Lewis is gone yet, but brother Carlton, and then I want to have brother Lewis, and if he's still here, and if not, then brother Tony. And we're gonna close out on this very beautiful high note, brother Carlton.
Assalamu alaikum again.
Walaikum salam, sir.
I'm gonna be very short. I just wanted to I was gonna say something else, but I like when the young brothers come on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That is they remind me of me when I was coming into the knowledge.
Yeah.
And Billy, I'm just inspired by him. You know what I mean? Anything I can do. What's your name, brother Elijah, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's my son's middle name. His mother wanted to name him the Kyra, but his middle name is Elijah. A beautiful name, brother. You got my support. I hope that I could find you on Facebook or somewhere where I could just support you, share whatever you're doing, and support whatever you pushing. Because I know it's about the nation. I know it's about what we try to do here. So you got the black, you got the old guys support, bro. You know what I mean? Anything I can do to help you in my power, I want to do it, bro. So you got that. Okay, so keep going. Keep going, please, brother.
Please
keep going. I'm praying for you. And I love you, man.
Yes, sir.
I love you too, brother.
Beautiful, brother Carlton. Thank you so much. We're gonna keep it moving, brother, because we get about 5 minutes more to go. Thank you, brother Carlton.
Can I get 1 minute? 1 minute.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to say one thing, that the minister, I'm not disrespecting the minister. I would never disrespect the minister. I love the minister. And that we have to elevate better than what we're doing. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, beloved. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. We receive you. Brother Lewis, were you still there, or you gone already? I'm gonna let us close out on brother Tony, pretty much. Okay, if you gone, then brother Tony, go ahead.
Yes, sir, brothers. I was just gonna say it was a beautiful show tonight. I heard the brothers last week. I enjoyed it, and I just and I just say that the brothers who are we're trying to make this a part of the curriculum for the brothers behind the walls, man. So y'all brothers just keep pushing. If I'm not here, I'm still trying to push it and get the chaplain's approval so that the brothers can hear y'all on an open platform, because the brothers can hear y'all, those who still have the laptops and the iPads and phones, but we're trying to get it so that the brothers can hear y'all, man, because these some topics that they really enjoy. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, excellent. Thank you, beloved. Praise be to Allah. So, brothers, we're going to close out now, brothers. But I just want to thank all of you, brothers, for your contribution on the topic tonight. And, man, I'm grateful. I'm really great. I just have to say how grateful I am to Allah for every brother participating on this call and your input and the wisdom that you're sharing, because this is how we elevate, Brother Carlton. We do have to elevate. We have to continuously elevate. And this is one of the ways that we do it, and that's by sharing real brotherhood and encouraging each other to be our very, very best. So let's keep pushing it out here, brothers. This is a movement. We will be hosting in-person events here soon, in a city near you soon, so just be prepared for that. I'm already starting to organize some stuff here in Houston. We're going to try to do something there in Baton Rouge already, because we got Brother Lewis on the ground. We want to come to Georgia. We want to hit every city that we possibly can and just really build in person on some things that we can really, you know, like knuckle down in, that we wouldn't be able to do online, and we can really chop it up about, you know, business and other things that we need to, you know, kind of weigh in, you know. And so again, thank you, brothers, for your input tonight. I'm gonna close it out on these tunes that I made. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling like, you know, I'm a little producer using this AI technology, but it's really fascinating. So again, thank you, brothers. See you, inshallah, next Thursday. Peace.
Yes, sir.
And vibe off this track because it's saying something, brothers.
We lost too many to silence, too many to pride. But today, we stand different. Brother, I got you. I'm my brother's keeper. I won't let you fall. When the world get heavy, I'ma answer the call. Hand on your shoulder, we gon' stand tall. If you lose your way, I'ma guide you home. I'm my brother's keeper. Yeah, that's love. Through the pain and the struggle, we evolve. We stronger together, divided we fall. So I got you, my brother. I got you. We was raised in a system that divided the men. Turned kings and the rivals made us enemies then. Competition over unity, that was the plan. But I see you as reflection, you a part of who I am. Same struggle, same pain, just a different road. Same pressure on your back, same heavy load. They don't teach us how to love, only how to survive. So we hurting one another just to feel alive. But I refuse that cycle, I break that chain. If you fall, I lift you, we don't die in vain. If you hungry, we eating. If you lost, I got. If you fighting your demons, I'm right by your side. I'm my brother's keeper. I won't let you fall. When the world get heavy, I'ma answer the call. Hand on your shoulder, we gon' stand tall. If you lose your way, I'ma guide you. They told us every man for himself, that's a lie. That's the reason so many of our brothers die. No code, no honor, no structure, no base. Just pain passed down that we never face. But we the builders that we lay a foundation. Real brotherhood is the elevation. Not just words, it's action, it's how we move. Checking on your mental, making sure you improve. Pull you up when you slip and not tearing you down. Correct you with love, keep your feet on the ground. If you're wrong, I'ma tell you that's your real respect. Cause I'd rather build you than watch you wreck. If you're crying in silence, I can hear you loud. You ain't gotta hide pain, you can say it now. We was never meant to walk this life alone. Brother, lean on me, this is shared. Yeah. From the block to the boardroom, same mission clear. Protect the black man, keep your brother near. We at war with forces trying to break the bond. But together we rise, we forever strong. No jealousy, no envy, just growth and power. We planting seeds now, they still fighting no loud. Generations watching how we move today. So I stand with my brother in the righteous way. Let you fall. When the world get heavy, I'ma answer the call. Hand on your shoulder, we gon' stand tall. If you lose your way, I'ma guide you home. My brother's keeper, yeah, that's all. Through the pain and the struggle, we fall. We stronger together, divided we fall. So I got you, my brother, I got you.
Peace, gods. Peace, gods.
Peace, yes, sir.
Peace. Peace. Thank you.
Peace. Peace. Peace.